Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump has dismissed another cabinet member. This time he's fired Attorney General Pam Bondi. Question, why?
Todd Blanche says reports that Bondi was fired over her handling of the Epstein files
is simply not true.
He told Fox News,
I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files.
As for Blanche's agenda, now that he's serving as interim AG,
I think that to the extent that the Epstein files was a part of the past year of this Justice Department, should not be a part of anything going forward.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
The president ousted former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem last month. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has fired the Army's Chief of Staff, General Randy George. Correspondent Nancy Cordes.
The Secretary of Defense asked him to step down and take immediate retirement. General George is a West Point graduate who had served as a senior military assistant to the former Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin.
A senior Defense Department official tells CBS News it was time for a leadership change. The current Vice Chief of Staff, a former aide to Hegseth, is expected to replace him. The Artemis II has been given the go-ahead for the history-making part of its 10-day journey to space. It is now out of Earth's orbit and on its way to loop the moon. Commander Reed Wiseman, after the translunar injection burn.
You could see the entire globe from pole to pole. You could see Africa, Europe, and if you looked really close, you could see the northern lights. It was the most spectacular moment, and it paused all four of us in our tracks.
Health Secretary Kennedy's next mission, cutting the number of tiny plastic particles in the water we drink.
Plastic has become embedded in modern life. It's also become embedded in the human body. Researchers have detected microplastics in human blood, lung tissue, liver, kidneys, and human placentas.
The EPA wants to include microplastics along with pharmaceuticals on a list of contaminants that could eventually lead to limits on microplastics for water utilities. Christians are observing Good Friday. A service held at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, but the public couldn't take part.
Today we came here as small groups to try to walk through the way of the cross.
All holy sites there have been closed since the start of the Iran war. The traditional Palm Sunday procession usually draws tens of thousands of people. Markets are closed for the holiday. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelley O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
It is 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got cloudy skies, 63 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Brian Feldman. St. Louis police raided a condemned apartment complex on the south side yesterday. Living conditions described as poor, and police say it's a center of violent crime. 63 people issued summons, 13 arrested. The department says those living there given a chance to collect their personal belongings before the building division came in to board it up. The complex in the 3600 block of Illinois Avenue in the Marine Villa neighborhood. It's been the site of 2 shootings in 3 months, as well as a recent fire.
Tomorrow morning, state and federal leaders will gather to discuss the shooting at a McClure South Berkeley Steam track meet, where a 13-year-old allegedly shot and killed a 14-year-old and shot another teen. State Representative Kem Smith says the time for action is now.
We have to get off of social media trying to solve problems and philosophies and actually take action. So no more posting. Let's show up in person, walk away with a plan on what to do next to help our children.
Smith is concerned that many students involved were not involved with the track meet, that the fight was pre-planned online. She adds parents need to communicate with their kids better about where they're going and what they're doing.
We've got to somehow support these parents who, for whatever reason, aren't seeing the connection between dropping their student off and something that is not an approved activity.
The meeting will be held at 10 tomorrow at Calvary Bible Church on Graham Road.
The federal government jumping into the fight over how Missouri's high school sports governing board picks its members. The Justice Department's Civil Rights Division intervening in an existing lawsuit against Misha, backing a white male candidate who was disqualified from a board seat because of his race and gender. The DOJ asking a court to block the policy entirely, calling it, quote, offensive and demeaning.
A group of Festus residents so upset about city council approval of a data center proposal, they're working to boot those city officials out of office.
Ryan Sciarra lives in unincorporated Festus, his property across Highway 67 from the proposed site. He hopes residents take their feelings to the polls next Tuesday as 4 incumbents face challenges. He tells KMOX the other 4, plus the city's mayor, are named in a citizen's petition seeking a recall vote.
We're going to have a lot of folks at the polls with petitions for people to be able to sign.
The citizens group has very little time to mount that challenge. Sherman Doyle is one of 11 homeowners targeted for buyout by developer Chris McKee of CRG.
On the 23rd is when we kicked off the recall effort. So we have 60 days from the 23rd. And it really comes down to, the amount of registered voters in the wards and then overall, so the city. So it's 25%.
Those petition signatures would have to be certified by the county clerk to move forward with any recall vote. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Is the city better prepared for its next natural disaster?
Mayor Kara Spencer is touting progress her administration has made over the last nearly 11 months since an EF3 tornado ripped through St. Louis City at modernizing the city's response to such disasters. She says a few weeks ago, a tornado warning coming across St. Louis City provided them with a test.
The system worked as planned. We had an advanced briefing. We had a unified command. We had direct coordination with the National Weather Service, and the sirens activated automatically. None of that existed 11 months ago.
Mayor Spencer adds she would like to see greater collaboration between the emergency management teams of St. Louis City, county, and other regional municipalities. In St. Louis City, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Where will Blues fans watch their team next season? That question just got urgent.
Sports Business Journal reports that Main Street Sports Group, the company that's behind FanDuel Sports Network, is shutting down the moment the Blues are done with the first round of the playoffs. The network has not cut the Blues a single check in 2026. Teams are now racing to find new broadcast homes, both from basketball and hockey. Streaming services and local over-the-air television are both on the table. Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest already has a foot in the door. The Blues and the Ducks are playing tonight on Channel 4 at 9.
From the business desk, layoffs could be coming soon at a major life sciences company that employs 2,300 people in St. Louis. MilPorsigma issued a statement this week saying it's reviewing how its customer service work is organized worldwide as part of a restructuring effort. According to the Business Journal, some St. Louis jobs could be shifted to regional hubs. MilPorsigma has been part of the St. Louis community since 1934.
We do have some stormy weather heading our way. Today should be pretty nice. We'll take a closer look at your forecast and what it holds for the weekend, and a look at the roadways as well, coming up next at 6:08.
Well, things are really heating up in the tournament, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost every single game day leading up to the big championship game. Build a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Or if you've never done it before, or have even, and you'd like to try it again, live betting. You can jump in after tip-off has already happened. Best of all, with FanDuel, if you win, you're going to get paid instantly, and that is a great deal. FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. Just go there. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now till the big championship game, which is upon us. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
6:10 on Total Information AM. Brian Feldman alongside Debbie Monterrey. Let's check the roadways with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it should be a pretty good morning. I think the weather will cooperate for us for the most part. We had an INO weather moving up north of us a little while ago, but things are in good shape on the highways. No standing water issues. The roadways don't look wet to me, what I can see. Of course, it's still dark out there, but quiet traffic. It is Good Friday, so it should be lighter traffic than a regular Friday, and right now that's proving out, even in the construction zones. 70 coming in from Warrenton, 270 at Ladue, 55 at Festus, north of Bayless, 64 on the Illinois side through the O'Fallon, Fairview Heights area. Everything is light and on the go, no incidents either. The last thing we had was North 55 past 44, and that they wrapped that up before the top of the hour, so we're back on track there. So it should be a pretty easygoing morning unless someone has a problem out there, but right now there aren't any. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Let's take a look at the weather, shall we? Because you do need to be aware of some potentially stormy weather heading our way.
Outside of a thunderstorm early this morning, we'll see clouds and some intervals of sun today. It'll be breezy, very warm, and feeling kind of humid this afternoon with a late-day thunderstorm high 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a couple of drenching thunderstorms primarily after midnight, when any thunderstorm can produce downpours, hail, damaging winds, even an isolated tornado. Tonight's low in the mid to upper 50s. A little rain to start the day tomorrow. Otherwise, cloudy, breezy, a much chillier temperature will hold in the 50s. Easter Sunday, sunshine returns, a cool breeze, high 60. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is mostly cloudy right now, 63 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
Cards are on the road for the first time this season. I'll tell you about that straight ahead in sports.
The news continues at 6:12. It's a big move for two West County neighborhoods. KMOX's Michael Calhoun reports.
Residents of the Arbor Crest and Arbor Trail subdivisions are now official citizens of Baldwin, Missouri. The two communities petitioned St. Louis County last year seeking annexation into the city, and they got that request granted by the St. Louis Boundary Commission last fall. Arbor Crest is off Reese Road near Big Bend. It spans nearly 15 acres and includes 34 homes. Arbor Trails is bigger, 49 acres and 85 homes, sitting just south of Big Bend near Oak Brook Elementary, which was also folded into the city of Baldwin as part of the deal. City officials are quick to reassure longtime Baldwin residents that the annexations will not raise taxes. Both subdivisions are represented by Ward 1. The city of Baldwin says it's excited to officially extend the welcome to its newest community members.
Once delayed by inflation, an apartment skyscraper is beginning to take form.
Well, Clayco and the Koppler family will be happy to see that the skyline overlooking Forest Park is beginning to expand, with the Albion Tower West End beginning to grow. The first 13 stories, at least the concrete structure of them, are upright. In total, when all said and done, this will be a 30-story, 305 residential apartment complex that it's going to feature glass exterior, this champagne gold paneling to it as well. But right now, it is just the concrete structure that's going up. But after this project was delayed for many years back in 2022, when inflation began to hit hard, it is a positive sign to see this project getting vertical. Outside Forest Park, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Forest Park's Southeast residents should expect plenty of construction this week as a local business begins a project valued at more than $4 million.
Construction is underway on a new bed and breakfast project from property owner Alan Chang after a successful appeal to the St. Louis Board of Adjustment this March.
Basically, we plan on using this space to partner up with the Dogwood, such as wedding events and WashU, as far as students and scholars coming in.
Now, with board approval, Chang has started construction at 4210 Manchester Avenue, one of a handful of buildings in the 4200 block that will be renovated. His plans include converting the second and third floors of each building into a combined bed and breakfast and leaving plenty of retail space on the first floor. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
Two series wins. That's the way the Cards 2026 season has started. The Redbirds took 2 of 3 from Tampa Bay on opening weekend, and maybe surprising to some, then took 2 of 3 from the New York Mets after Mason Wynn with this hit on Wednesday.
Weatherholt comes down the line. The pitch, a swing, and a fly ball, short right field. That is going to drop, and a Redbird winner. The ball falls in front of Benj, and the Cardinals walk it off. The first RBI of the season for Mason Wynn, a looper that found the grass in right field, and they light it up in downtown St. Louis with the Cardinals taking 2 out of 3 against the Mets, winning 2-1 today.
After dropping the first game of the series Monday, the Cards shut out the Mets Tuesday night before that extra inning winner on Wednesday. Today, the Cards are on the road for the first time in 2026 as they begin a 3-game series in Detroit. It's a 6-game road trip. They'll head to Washington for 3 with the Nationals next. It's a 12:10 first pitch this afternoon as the Tigers celebrate their home opener. Michael McGreevy will make his second start of the year. He had a great first outing, tossing 6 scoreless innings, hitless innings as well against the Rays on Saturday. Framber Valdez will throw for the Tigers. Valdez threw 6 innings Friday at San Diego. He gave up just a single earned run. He's in his first year with the Tigers after beginning his career with Houston. He was 13-11 last year for the Astros. Amarin Total Access gets underway at 11:15 this morning. And our Redbird Report is sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. St. Louis City will take the pitch in New York City tomorrow night. Coming off its first win of the year, City will take on New York City FC. New York's off to a 3-1-1 start, and Jen Cease has more in this City Spotlight.
St. Louis City SC is back in action this weekend as they head to face New York City FC, the first of 3 straight on the road. City is coming off that 3-1 home win over New England before the break, and head coach Yoann DeMay says the focus this week has been building on that momentum while sharpening key areas.
When you put those things together, it's about the consistency, and it's also about taking our chances. Like in LAFC, there is that unfortunate goal that is disallowed, like early in the game, maybe changes the game. So right now, when we play away, be able to capitalize on our chances, be a little bit more clinical and efficient in the final third, and at the same time, remain in the game for as long as possible and defend well. If you've got that clean sheet mentality and you're able to defend properly, then you get yourself more chance to come out of those games with a result.
City will look to carry that efficiency into New York this weekend without Celio Pompeu from his recent ACL injury. And though Edward Lubin is back in training, he's not roster ready just yet. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
And the Blues remain 5 points out of a playoff spot. They've got 8 games to play in the regular season. That includes tonight as they continue their West Coast trip. They are in Anaheim, and the puck drops at 9 o'clock St. Louis time. Next sports update is 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. It's Friday. We have some stormy weather on the way, just in time for the weekend. More details on that in a moment. But first, a report from the roadways from Captain Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're gradually seeing more folks out on the highways, but it really still isn't making a difference, Debbie, so that's great news, obviously. This traffic report's a service of I-3 Broadband. The highways are light and on the go everywhere you look, even in the work zone. 70 coming in from out west, Warrenton Way looks great. If you're on 270 around Ladue, 64, everything's fine. Northbound 55, north of Festus and north of Bayless. In the construction zones, there we're okay. Westbound 64 on the Illinois side through 159 Fairview Heights, good. We had a stall briefly, westbound 70 at Grand. They already cleared it. There was, I didn't even see a slowdown when they were out there dealing with it. So again, a pretty easy run for you on both sides of the river. It is Good Friday after all, so it should be a lighter commute for everybody, I would hope. Spring is here. Time to toss out that dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got some wet weather on the way. Today, it's not going to be terrible. Clouds and some sun at times, breezy and humid this afternoon. High of 82 degrees. But tonight, that's when the weather begins. Thunderstorms late, drenching thunderstorms after midnight, a possible tornado. Damaging wind gusts, a low between 55 and 59 degrees. Tomorrow, a little rain early in the morning. Breezy, much cooler with plenty of clouds. Temperatures mainly in the 50s. Easter Sunday is going to be nice. Mostly sunny, breezy, and cool. High of 60 degrees. Right now, we have cloudy skies and 62 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. A first-of-its-kind lawsuit filed in federal court yesterday aimed at stopping Illinois' efforts to regulate prediction markets. We get more from Haley Hansen.
The complaint argues Illinois' attempt to shut down so-called designated contract markets regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission intruded on the federal government's exclusive authority to regulate national swaps markets. It's the first by the CFTC regarding the policing of prediction markets operators. The Trump administration says the Illinois defendants, including Governor Pritzker and Attorney General Kwame Raoul, misapprehend the nature of event contracts, thus violating the Constitution.
There's a continuing push to get so-called weapons of war off Illinois streets. Sean Smoots, a gun violence prevention advocate, who says there's an epidemic of handguns being converted into machine guns.
This isn't just a Chicago issue. This is from Chicago to Cairo, from Danville to Quincy, and all points in between. We're seeing increased situations where these weapons are used, or there's evidence in the form of piles of spent shells in street gutters that these weapons are being used.
Spoot took part in a virtual briefing hosted by Every Town for Gun Safety. He's among those in support of proposed Illinois legislation which would prohibit the sale to civilians of semi-automatic handguns that can be easily converted into fully automatic machine guns with the installation of a switch.
Metro East Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski speaking out against a new executive order restricting mail-in ballots. In a statement Thursday afternoon, Budzinski called the new executive order unconstitutional, saying the White House ignored 150 years of safe, reliable voting by mail. President Trump speaking about it Tuesday.
Cheating on mail-in voting is legendary. It's horrible what's going on. And it's very clearly covered, very, very clearly. So I think this will help a lot with elections.
President Trump and his wife, the First Lady, both voted by mail-in ballot in the past election. Representative Benzinski hopes the courts will block the executive order. If unchallenged, the U.S. Postal Service will give ballots only to voters who the Department of Homeland Security and Social Security Administration list as eligible citizens.
Missouri lawmakers have filed a series of bills aimed at breaking up the state's electric utility monopolies to try and fight against rising electric bills. If passed, the legislation would require Missouri utilities to sell their power plants and open the market to private companies. St. Charles County Republican Representative Tricia Burns, one of the bill sponsors, she was asked how the proposal compares to liberal energy policies in Illinois during a press conference this week. She was also probed on why Missouri should consider a similar approach.
Probably one of the only things that I find that Illinois' policies have worked, and there's some struggle with Texas. And I think our plan is one of the best plans because it takes all of the best things from these policies that have been rolled out.
Burns points to Missouri's ranking as fifth worst nationally for electricity price increases since 2008. Ameren, Missouri, one of the state's largest electric companies, says the bills would lead to higher customer costs.
Some local customer service jobs may be moving from St. Louis to Costa Rica, according to a new report from the St. Louis Business Journal. Millipore Sigma says it's reviewing how customer service is organized globally, with some responsibility shifting from St. Louis to regional hubs, including Costa Rica.
A company spokesperson says the change will affect a limited number of jobs, but no final decisions have been made. Millipore Sigma, a local provider of lab materials and services used in research labs and medical manufacturing.
If you're filling up this week and expect to pay more than you did a year ago, the national average for a gallon of regular was $4.08 yesterday, up 84 cents from this time last year. St. Louis drivers are paying $3.78 a gallon. Across the river, it's $4.21 a gallon. AAA says instability in global energy markets and the war in Iran are pushing crude oil prices higher.
Is the city better prepared for its next natural disaster?
Mayor Kara Spencer is touting progress her administration has made over the last nearly 11 months since an EF3 tornado ripped through St. Louis City at modernizing the city's response to such disasters. She says a few weeks ago, a tornado warning coming across St. Louis City provided them with a test.
The system worked as planned. We had an advanced briefing. We had a unified command. We had direct coordination with the National Weather Service, and the sirens activated automatically. None of that existed 11 months ago.
Mayor Spencer adds she would like to see greater collaboration between the emergency management teams of St. Louis City, County, and other regional municipalities. In St. Louis City, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It is 6:27, and the time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
The pressure on data centers has never been greater. Whether you're expanding capacity, supporting AI workloads, or building new facilities, Graybar works alongside you with the solutions, specialists, and logistics expertise you need today. We help you power performance every step of the way, so your operation is ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
At 6:30, we have cloudy skies and 64 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's 6:30, so normally we'd be seeing a little more volume on the area highways, but right now things are looking good. Even 55, normally that's the first place we start to see slowdowns, right around Bayless, headed up through Weber, but right now you're good to go through there. Looks good out west, coming in on Highway 70, southbound 61. That's another place we normally would see a little earlier volume, but it's wide open coming down from Highway P to 64, and like I said, 64 and 70 coming out of Wentzville look great. And on the Illinois side, no delays right now. 64 coming through Fairview Heights. Their work zone around 159 is clear, and it's still good to go across the downtown bridges as well. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The day's going to start okay. Clouds and some sun at times, breezy, warm, and humid this afternoon, high of 82 degrees. But tonight, that is when the wet weather comes. Drenching thunderstorms after midnight, producing flooding downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado, low between 55 and 59 degrees. Right now, we have cloudy skies and 64 degrees downtown at the Arch.
St. Louis police say they carried out one of their largest search warrants in years at a condemned Southside apartment complex located on the 3600 block of Illinois in the Marine Villa neighborhood of South St. Louis. 63 people were written tickets for occupying a condemned building. 13 people were arrested on a variety of charges, including possession of an illegal weapon to drug trafficking. The department says there have been 158 calls for service in that block in the past year.
This weekend, state and federal leaders will meet with the community for solutions after a tragic shooting.
Everyone who leaves that meeting needs to know, here's what I can do next.
State Representative Kim Smith of Florissant says her daughter attends McClure South Berkeley Steam High, where a 14-year-old was killed after allegedly being shot by a 13-year-old. Smith says this tragedy could have been avoided if better communication was in place.
From what I am hearing, the children arranged to be at this fight through social media. So there were people who knew in advance. And those children didn't warn an adult, and if they did, the adult didn't take action.
The meeting is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at the Calvary Bible Church on Graham Road. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Charles County Council taking a moment to honor the life and service of a law enforcement icon.
We just have a moment of silent prayer for Sheriff Neer, who passed away last Friday. Just a moment.
Tom Neer started as a patrol officer in 1974, rose through the ranks to serve as sheriff from 2004 to 2014. County Executive Steve Ellman says Neer was the right leader for a county experiencing rapid growth.
He turned our sheriff's department into a very professional organization, which it wasn't always like that. You know, as we got bigger and more sophisticated and the challenges got greater, he kept up with them.
Visitation for Sheriff Neer will be held Saturday at Bowie Cave Springs starting at 10:30.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We will check your money reports straight ahead. It's 6:33.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. There are real things to talk about. I am amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
Whether you're wanting a beautiful landscape this spring or help cleaning your yard after this brutal winter, now is the time to start planning. The people at Chesterfield Valley Nursery are here to provide friendly, reliable service for all your lawn care needs. Give them a call for a free, customized quote today. Or beat the winter blues by visiting our garden center at Chesterfield Valley Nursery to check out our houseplants and pottery until all the spring plants start to arrive. Chesterfield Valley Nursery has been around since 1983. We know the St. Louis area well, and we offer plants that will thrive in the humid summers of the Midwest. Ask us for expert advice on your landscaping and gardening needs. We are happy to help. Take the Boone's Crossing exit off Highway 40. We are located right behind Chesterfield's newest and largest entertainment complex. Give us a call or head over to ChesterfieldValleyNursery.com. That's ChesterfieldValleyNursery.com. A celebration of his beauty.
It is 6:35 and time for us to get you updated on your money report from Bloomberg, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The day ahead witnesses one of the more unusual scenarios for the U.S. economy and the markets. We get what many consider the most important economic report of the month, but we will have to wait all weekend to find out what Wall Street collectively thinks of it. That's because the government is open today, which means the Labor Department's March employment-unemployment report is set for release right on schedule. But markets are closed today for Good Friday. As for what the report is expected to show, economists surveyed by Bloomberg think we will hear that the U.S. economy created 65,000 more jobs than it lost in March, following that February surprise, that loss of 92,000 jobs. The number of U.S. manufacturing jobs is forecast to be down again, wage growth likely slowed, and unemployment is expected to hold steady at 4.4%. But the Iran war creates so much of a variable that a surprise reading may not be so much of a surprise this time around. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs. So this is not the time for, I hope it works out. That's why Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, April 14th and 16th at Bartolino's Twin Oaks. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines can impact your returns, dealing with issues like taxes, outliving your money, and long-term care. Find out if your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. 636-230-8824 or at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or Registered Investment Advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off.
Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This afternoon,
The Cards, the Tigers.
Cameron Total Access 11:15. First pitch 12:10.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
KMOX News Time, 6:39. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi fired from her position Thursday. While President Trump publicly praised Bondi's work, sources tell CBS News his support for her had been eroding for months. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will serve as acting Attorney General in her place. Last month, the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Bondi to appear for a closed-door interview about the Epstein files on April 14th. At this point, it is not clear if she will comply.
It is 6:40, time for traffic and weather. We say good morning once again to Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I think you could probably hang out and have your extra cup of coffee before you hit the highways because there's nothing in your way right now. Lighter traffic. Friday mornings are always lighter, but it's Good Friday, so it's even going to be lighter than normal, I would suspect. Right now, it's certainly the case because normally by this time we'd be seeing some slow traffic on 55 around Butler Hill and north of Bayless, but it looks great. Southbound 61 coming down through Wentzville Parkway. That's another place we usually start to see slow stuff early on. Looks great. 70 coming in from Warrenton and 64 for that matter. Across the Missouri River bridges, you're good to go. Another stall, they had one earlier, westbound 70 at Grand. They cleared it. Then we had one a few minutes ago at Jennings Station, but that's been moved out of the way. And on the Illinois side, 64 westbound coming in through Fairview Heights. That's still in good shape. No delays past 159. And, of course, downtown, we're still clear across the bridges. They had road work that they were going to be doing this week, but because of all the weather, they postponed it till next week. So we'll see delays next week. It'll be overnight road work on 70, east of Wentzville Parkway through that S-bend around the railroad overpass, and also on 64. Just before you get to the 70 split on the Illinois side, that'll be during the midday in between the rush hours. They'll be doing that road work. But again, that was all planned for this week. But with all the weather, there's more weather on the way. They pushed it back. Next update is 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
6:41, we check in with meteorologist Joe Lundberg to tell us about some wet weather that's coming our way.
Indeed, that's the case, Brian. We've seen a thunderstorm this morning, but that's now north and east of the city, moving through the Litchfield area toward Hillsborough, Raymond, and moving northeastward out of the area. So I think the bulk of the day today is going to be fine with clouds, some sun, and a warm breeze. It's going to feel kind of humid. Watch out later this afternoon, early tonight for just a stray thunderstorm. But again, a lot of the time rain-free, the high 82. It's later tonight that has me most concerned. It'll be a line of thunderstorms that will move into and through the area, probably along and after midnight, and they could produce flooding downpours, hail, damaging winds, and an isolated tornado. Temperature by morning behind that line of thunderstorms will be in the mid to upper 50s. It's not going to go anywhere tomorrow. Any rain comes to an end in the morning. The afternoon hours will be dry, but breezy and much chillier with lots of clouds, maybe some late-day sun, but temperatures tomorrow won't get out of the 50s. After that, 3 quiet days for Easter Sunday through Tuesday. Sunshine on Sunday, the high 60. More sun than clouds Monday, the high 62. Mid-50s with some sunshine on Tuesday. Currently 60 at St. Peter's, 63 in Florissant, mostly cloudy, 66 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm Joe Pod. Cards get set for a series in Detroit. We'll tell you who's hot, who's not. That's straight ahead in sports.
It is 6:42. The Artemis II crew is now on its way to the moon, as we hear in this report from CBS's Chris Van Cleve at the Johnson Space Center in Houston.
Integrity, good engine, good control.
And it's go for the moon. For nearly 6 minutes, Orion's main engine fired with 6,000 pounds of thrust to give the capsule a 900-mile-an-hour boost, sending it and its 4 astronauts on a path around the moon.
The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem able to hold a Good Friday service at Calvary in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. Earlier this week, authorities prevented the Roman Catholic cardinal from entering the church to hold a Palm Sunday service. The church, located inside the Basilica in Jerusalem's Old City, traditionally believed to be the site of Jesus' crucifixion and burial.
Eggs to decorate for Easter this year will cost much less than they did last year.
Government figures say retail egg prices in the U.S. averaged $2.50 per dozen in February compared to $6.23 in March 2025, a 60% drop. Bird flu was to blame for the spikes last year, and the fact that it's eased considerably is a big reason prices are so much lower now. The outbreak forced the slaughter of entire broods of egg-laying hens, but egg supplies have improved as farmers replenish those flocks. Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
The Martin County Sheriff's Office this week released body cam footage from the arrest of Tiger Woods. Woods arrested on DUI after a rollover crash March 27th near his home in Jupiter Island, Florida. Here's how it sounded when they handcuffed him.
Try and push him just behind your back. Place him behind your back. There you go. So at this time, I do believe your normal faculties are impaired, okay? And you're under the unknown substance, okay? So at this time, you are under arrest for DUI. Yes, sir.
Woods announced earlier this week he is, quote, stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment after pleading not guilty to charges, including driving under the influence.
It is 6:45.
Who's Hot, Who's Not is sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. When the Cards open a 3-game series in Detroit this afternoon, they'll turn to right-hander Michael McGreevy will make his second start of the year. McGreevy went 8-4 last season in 16 starts for the Cards. He made 4 early starts in the season and then settled into the rotation for good after the All-Star break. His first outing in 2026 was fantastic. He tossed 6 scoreless, hitless innings against the Rays Saturday at Busch Stadium. He didn't get the decision, but the Cards did come away with the win in the game. McGreevy said after the game, he used everything he had against the Rays.
Keeping their hitters off balance, using all 7 of my pitches today for both lefties and righties, and especially when they stack the lineup with lefties and good lefties at that, I was very happy to keep them at bay.
And the advantage of having 7 pitches he can go to, well, that's essentially the element of surprise.
That's the goal. You don't want to fall into patterns. When you got 7, it should be easy not to fall into patterns. If something's working, then go back to it. But I think just from being on the mound, it was a good mix of, hey, I don't think they know what's coming, minus a few pitches.
McGreevy will face a Detroit offense that's been anything but hot so far this year. The Tigers are 27th of 30 major league teams in OPS, 21st in batting average. The Tigers are 20th in on-base percentage and dead last in baseball in slugging percentage. The Cards will face lefty Framber Valdez in today's series opener. He makes his second start for Detroit after signing there in the offseason. He threw 6 innings in his first outing Friday at San Diego. He allowed a single earned run in the start. Ameren Total Access gets underway at 11:15 this morning, and first pitch is at 12:10. The Blues remain out west tonight following an overtime loss at the Kings on Wednesday. They're at Anaheim tonight. The Blues have 74 points. They remain 5 points out of a playoff spot with 8 games to play in the regular season. Anaheim leads the Pacific Division with 87 points. The puck drops tonight at 9 o'clock St. Louis time. St. Louis City is back on the pitch tomorrow evening at New York City FC. St. Louis is 1-3-1 following its first win of the year. That came 2 weeks ago against New England here in St. Louis. New York has done the opposite. They won its first 3 games of the season before dropping its last outing on the 22nd against Miami. Kickoff tomorrow is 6:30 p.m., and you can hear that game on our sister station, Y98. And the Final Four gets underway tomorrow night in Indianapolis. It'll be third-seeded Illinois as they face number 2 seed UConn. That game gets underway just after 5 p.m. That's the first game of the night. The second game, well, it has a pair of top seeds as Michigan faces off with Arizona. That game is scheduled to tip just before 8 o'clock. And, of course, the winners will face off Monday night for the national championship. Next sports update is 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman for St. Louis Composting. Composting is very important. Soil is very important. Mulch is very important. For your yard, soil with 5% or more organic matter is the gold standard. It creates better structure. It locks in nutrients. It dramatically improves water retention. Now is the perfect time for a full landscape cleanup. Add compost to your garden beds to prep for planting season, and mulch. Refresh your entire landscape with a fresh layer of mulch in your flower beds and around your trees. It's the fastest way to make your yard pop with a beautiful, well-kept look. How do you do all of that? You just go to stlcompost.com. They have a menu of everything you could possibly want or need. They even have a material calculator at stlcompost.com to figure out exactly how much soil or mulch your project requires. 9 retail locations all over the area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at kmox.com/events.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:50 on Total Information AM. Let's check the roadways with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're still good to go out there so far this morning, Brian. I'm not seeing any issues on the interstates. We had another stall in the last few minutes. They've all been on 70, westbound at Grand at Jennings Station. We had a couple eastbound. They just cleared one from the left shoulder at Natural Bridge. Again, no delays if you're heading in for the airport or any direction on Highway 70 headed toward the airport. Either way, you look good. Still look good out west on 70 in Warrenton. 61 coming down from P into Wentzville Parkway is fine. 55 down in Festus and north of Bayless, and those construction zones looks good. 270 at Ladue, you're clear. Westbound 64 through 159 and headed across the downtown bridges. Still no delays. It's an easygoing, good Friday morning for you so far. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, today should not be too bad. Cloudy, some sun at times, breezy, humid. Could see a thunderstorm rumbling through, a high of 82 degrees. However, we'll see some strong storms, drenching thunderstorms moving through after midnight. And those could have some hail, downpours, damaging wind gusts, possibly an isolated tornado. It's also going to push the warm temperatures out. So we'll be at 82 today. Tomorrow, mid to upper 50s. And then Easter Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 60 degrees. Currently 62 with cloudy skies in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:52. The downtown Clayton building that's home to Chipotle has a new owner. Hoffman Commercial Real Estate purchased the building at 1 North Central Avenue. No purchase price disclosed. Hoffman CRE backed by the billionaire who's bought into Missouri wine country and also the new majority owner of the Post-Dispatch.
The Business Journal reporting the relatively short building is 100% leased. Other tenants include Hot Box Cookies and St. Louis Suit Company. Hoffman also owns the Pierre Laclede Center and the Moneta building.
A downtown West nightclub may lose its license to stay open until 3 a.m. Neighbors of Europe nightclub on 15th Street testified during a city excise division hearing yesterday that the club fuels violence with shootings, fights, trash, and loitering. Property owner nearby said police presence in the area has been non-existent, and at times 911 did not respond to calls from club patrons in emergency situations. Europe nightclub, one of a handful of bars downtown, licensed to stay open until 3.
What's behind an apparent return to faith for young people, especially Gen Z men? As KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer reports, it's an interesting question as we are in the midst of Holy Week and Passover for the faithful.
A new Washington Post article examines why Gen Z men are flocking to Catholicism. Former priest Jonathan Morris says the return to faith for younger people began right after COVID, especially in big cities.
And they weren't able to do the things that maybe made things feel a little bit easier in these big cities, whether it's going out to the clubs or to the bars or the dating scene. And then all of a sudden they said, what is life all about?
Morris says he believes younger people now are going to more traditional places like houses of worship to find the answer. The Washington Post piece suggests young men are increasingly drawn to the Catholic Church as they seek truth, beauty, and, yes, girlfriends. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
You may have never thought about what it takes for someone with autism to navigate and enjoy St. Louis attractions like the Gateway Arch, but author Kara Dalton has. As a teacher of 17 years, Dalton says she saw the need for the representation of autism in children's books.
When I was teaching, it was very hard to find a book that a child with autism can really relate to, that they could feel seen and heard. And since many autistic children use visual cues for communication, I thought having this book would be a great tool for both the child and the parent.
Her book, Archie at the Arch, follows a young boy with autism who visits the Arch. Meant to be a tool for both parents and children, it outlines how Archie prepares for his trip and what strategy he uses to enjoy his visit.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Celebrity birthdays on April 3rd. Actor Eddie Murphy is 64. Happy birthday, model Paris Jackson. She's 27. Alec Baldwin is 67. Actress Kobe Smulders is 43. And actor Adam Scott, 52.
And the birthday shout out is sponsored for you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Remember to get birthday and anniversaries announced in this segment. You can email totalam@KMOX.com, totalam@KMOX.com. Make sure to include the date that you want it announced. Happy birthday wishes going out to Judy Barbeau Shoriak of Granite City. Happy 62nd wedding anniversary to Linda and Rich Winkler from Carol and the family. And happy birthday to Anne-Marie Schweiss and her birthday twin, Susie Reese, both of Kirkwood.
This is the best birthday ever.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advanced them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Corey, from your comfort service? Why are you standing next to my AC?
I'm standing behind our work.
But it's 8 p.m. You're just going to stand behind my air conditioner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could you turn off the sprinkler then?
Absolutely. At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, we take pride in our work. If you need a new air conditioner or HVAC system, you can trust we'll install the equipment correctly. Plus, for a limited time, qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fred birding games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
6:58. Let's check the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's nothing to worry about out there so far this morning, Brian. As you're hitting the highways, they look good. Northbound 55 coming up from Festus through Butler Hill. Usually the right lanes are busy through there. Bayless up to River to Pears, no worries. North 270 still hustling through Gravois past 44. Both directions through that lane shift and the narrowing and the work zone around Ladue, not bothering anybody so far this morning. Eastbound 70 has a good drive coming in from out west. Warrenton through that Wright City rest area. That's usually trouble some days with crashes, but not so today. Southbound 61 still clear sailing. Coming down from Highway P, Winslow Parkway, once you hit 64 or 70 out of that point, you're good to go across the Missouri River bridges and across the bridges downtown of Mississippi, the Poplar, Mutual Veterans. Everything's in good shape there. And westbound 64, again through 159 in Fairview Heights in that construction zone. No delays. Haven't even seen the train crossing Route 3 at Monsanto so far. Everything looks good. A little busy at Queenie, but that's just the folks waiting at the light. It's just a brief slowdown at that point. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Friday, March the 3rd. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. A community will gather in search of answers after a teenager fatally shot another at a high school track meet. I've got that story coming up.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
New neighbors are getting welcomed into the city of Baldwin. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Joe Pott. After 2 series wins, the Cards are on the road for the first time in 2026. They'll take on the Tigers this afternoon, and I've got more coming up in sports.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. We'll see clouds and some sun today. It'll be breezy, very warm, and rather humid this afternoon with a late-day thunderstorm, high 82.
Coming up from CBS News, the acting attorney general insists Pam Bondi was not fired over her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. At the Tone, it's 7 o'clock.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump has dismissed another top cabinet member, this time Attorney General Pam Bondi. The question this morning is why? Former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Tom Dupree.
The president made clear from day one that a top priority of his was using the Justice Department as a way to go after the people he felt had treated him wrongly.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who will fill the #1 spot temporarily, tells Fox.
To the extent that the Epstein files was a part of the past year of this Justice Department, it should not be a part of anything going forward.
Bondi could still be compelled to testify in Congress Epstein investigation later this month. A surprise shakeup at the Defense Department as U.S. forces lock in for what the president says will be at least another 2 or 3 weeks of war with Iran. CBS's Weijia Jiang.
Army Chief of Staff General Randy George is now among more than a dozen senior military officials removed from Defense Secretary Hegseth's team. George has been asked to step down and retire immediately. A senior defense official tells CBS News, quote, "We're grateful for his service, but it was time for a leadership change."
A former aide to Defense Secretary Hegseth is expected to replace him. The Artemis II crew is now on its way farther into space than any human has ever gone. Correspondent Chris Van Cleves at the Johnson Space Center in Houston.
Integrity, good engine, good control.
And it's go for the moon. For nearly 6 minutes, Orion's main engine fired with 6,000 pounds of thrust to give the capsule a 900-mile-an-hour boost, sending it and its 4 astronauts on a path around the moon.
Humanity has once again shown what we are capable of.
The translunar injection burn also sets up Orion's return to Earth.
If all goes well, that'll happen a week from today with splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. Southern Californians are bracing for an extremely windy weekend. CBS News LA meteorologist Danny Roberti.
We have a next weather alert for our mountain communities. We could see wind gusts 65 plus miles per hour. These are the winds that could be damaging. They could blow around loose objects or even make travel difficult.
There is a high wind warning today for the western San Gabriel Mountains and the Highway 14 corridor. Online shoppers could feel the pinch of higher fuel prices. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
Starting April 17th, Amazon will impose a 3.5% fuel and logistics surcharge on third-party sellers in the U.S. and Canada. The company says the fee is driven by rising oil prices during the ongoing conflict in Iran.
2 airlines, United and JetBlue, have now announced new baggage fees to make up for higher fuel costs. Markets closed this Good Friday. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers,
If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
At 7:04, we have cloudy skies and 64 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, April 3rd. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. An early morning interstate crash leaves one dead. Police responding to a car crash on I-70 heading east near Union this morning at 1 a.m. The crash involved at least 5 vehicles and included 2 pickup trucks. One pedestrian was killed in the accident while several others were transported to the hospital. According to our partners at Fox 2, the interstate was closed for a majority of the morning, but reopened around 6 a.m.
St. Louis police raided a condemned apartment complex on the south side yesterday. Living conditions described as poor, and police say it's a center of violent crime. 63 people issued summons, 13 arrested. The department says those living there were given a chance to collect their personal belongings before the building division came in to board it up. The complex in the 3600 block of Illinois Avenue in the Marine Villa neighborhood. It's been the site of 2 shootings in 3 months, as well as a recent fire.
After a 13-year-old gunned down a 14-year-old and shot another teen at a track meet, local leaders will be gathering with the community in search of solutions.
Federal and state leaders will host a town hall tomorrow morning with the hopes of coming away with actionable next steps to prevent the next tragedy. State Rep Kim Smith is one of the politicians organizing the meeting and has a child enrolled at McClure South Berkeley STEAM High, where the shooting took place. She says with parents saying the students coordinated the fight on social media ahead of time, the adults need to be more on top of their children.
Why does this child have access to a gun? Why did he have a ride to this place? These children who were there to watch this fight were not a part of that track meet.
The meeting will be held at the Calvary Bible Church on Graham Road at 10 tomorrow morning. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
In other communities across the country, residents have fought back against data center developments by pushing local officials out of office. A group of Festus, Missouri residents trying the same tactic.
Despite vocal opposition, the Festus City Council approved a framework agreement with the developer for a $6 billion data center. Residents of the area, like Ryan Sciarra, say voters will have the last word.
I think essentially kind of cleaning house is the first step.
4 Festus Council members are up for re-election Tuesday. Sherman Doyle is one of 11 homeowners in his neighborhood targeted for a buyout. He's going door to door, gathering signatures to try and trigger a recall vote for the rest.
The main targets would be the council members who are not currently up for re-election on the 7th.
Doyle says the mayor is also named in that petition. The group has 60 days to collect enough signatures and present them to the county clerk. While the mayor has told KMOX the process has been transparent, residents claim there have been backroom deals and the final agreement isn't what they were promised. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The company that broadcasts Blues games is officially going out of business.
Main Street Sports Group, which operates FanDuel Sports Networks, will officially wind down once the Blues finish the first round of the playoffs. Main Street has not paid the Blues a single dollar in rights fees in 2026, according to Sports Business Journal. As for what comes next, one option already exists in this market. According to the Business Journal, local over-the-air channels are among the most viable options for teams that are leaving Main Street, which puts Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest squarely in the conversation. Tonight's game against Anaheim is already on Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest at 9.
Some local customer service jobs may be moving from St. Louis to Costa Rica. This is from the Business Desk. That's according to a new report from the St. Louis Business Journal. Milpor Sigma tells the Journal it's reviewing how customer service work is organized globally, with some responsibility shifting from St. Louis to regional hubs, including Costa Rica. A company spokesperson says the change will affect a limited number of jobs, but no final decisions have been made. Milpor Sigma, a local provider of lab materials and services used in research labs and medical manufacturing.
It is 7:08. When we come back, we'll take a look at traffic and weather. Stay with us here on Total Information AM on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At Easy Cater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. The 9 a.m. staff meeting? How about breakfast burritos and lots of coffee? Big client presentation at noon? Let's do Mediterranean bowls. Accounting's gotta work late. Keep them pepped up with spicy noodles. With Easy Cater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with Easy Cater. Start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
7:10, let's get a check on the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still nothing to worry about out there as you're heading the highways. There's a little volume on 30 around Mauer, just, a few folks waiting lights here and there. But once you hit the main thoroughfares, the interstates are good to go, even in the work zones. 55 coming up from Festus looks good. We have construction these days there around Merrimack Bottom. North of Bayless is not slowing you down anywhere there. 270 at Ladue, both directions. That still looks good. Lighter volume out to the west on 70 coming in between Warrenton and Wright City in that work zone. Southbound 61P down to Wentzville Parkway on to 64 or 70. 64 westbound Fairview Heights, 159 areas, which is fine. And it's still clear across the downtown bridges. Again, they pushed back road work due to the weather this week. They were scheduled to start working overnight on eastbound 70 in the Wentzville area, that S-bend between Wentzville Parkway and Highway Z every night from 9 to 5:30. But they pushed the eastbound work back to next week. And then the following week, they'll start doing the work over the night hours on the westbound side. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. There may be a thunderstorm in spots to start. Otherwise, clouds and some sun at times today. Breezy, very warm and humid this afternoon with a late day thunderstorm in spots, the high 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a couple of drenching thunderstorms after midnight. Those thunderstorms can produce flooding, downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts, and even an isolated tornado. Tonight's low 55 to 59. A little rain early tomorrow. Otherwise, breezy and much cooler with plenty of clouds. Temperatures in the 50s. Easter Sunday, sunshine returns, breezy and cool, high 60. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 62 degrees with mostly cloudy skies in downtown St. Louis.
Well, the Cards were off yesterday, but we'll tell you how they are as they prepare for the Tigers today.
The news continues at 7:12. Lawmakers, doctors, and others say Illinois faces a growing danger of firearms that can be easily converted into automatic weapons. Terry Keschner reports.
We're talking about the loss of life.
Illinois State Senator Selena Villanueva was among those who took part in a virtual briefing hosted by Everytown for Gun Safety. She is sponsoring state legislation which would prohibit the future sale to civilians of semi-automatic handguns that can easily be converted into fully automatic machine guns with the installation of a switch.
Crime is on the hands of criminals. It is. but it's also everyone's responsibility to make sure that we're doing everything proactively to try to address the systemic issues of violence. And this is one of them.
Greg Lickenbrock is a firearms expert for Everytown for Gun Safety.
An extremely targeted approach to get a few gun makers to fix this problem, and it does not affect the pistols people currently own. It does not affect those sold to law enforcement or the military.
And the news continues at 7:13. The Trump administration suing the state of Illinois yesterday over what it calls the state's unlawful efforts to regulate prediction markets. Haley Hansen has more.
Governor Pritzker, Attorney General Kwame Raoul, and the Gaming Board are named as the defendants accused of calling event contracts wagers instead of swaps, enabling the Gaming Board to regulate and license companies that offer the contracts. The lawsuit calls on the court to, quote, put an end to ongoing efforts to undermine the uniform application of federal law. It's the first by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission to block state gaming regulators from policing operators of prediction markets.
Metro East Congresswoman Nikki Baczynski speaking out against a new executive order restricting mail-in ballots. In a statement yesterday afternoon, Baczynski calls the new EO unconstitutional, saying the White House ignored 150 years of safe, reliable voting by mail. President Trump speaking about the order Tuesday.
Cheating on mail-in voting is legendary. It's horrible what's going on. And it's very clearly covered, very, very clearly. So I think this will help a lot with elections.
Representative Baczynski says she hopes the courts will block the new executive order. If unchallenged, the U.S. Postal Service will give ballots only to voters who the Department of Homeland Security and Social Security Administration list as eligible citizens.
Two series wins. That's the way the Cards season has started. The Redbirds took 2 of 3 from the Tampa Bay Rays opening weekend, and then took 2 of 3 from the New York Mets, thanks in part to Mason Wynn.
Weatherholt comes down the line. The pitch, a swing, and a fly ball, short right field. That is going to drop, and a Redbird winner. The ball falls in front of Benj, and the Cardinals walk it off. The first RBI of the season for Mason Wynn, a looper that found the grass in right field, and they light it up in downtown St. Louis, with the Cardinals taking 2 out of 3 against the Mets, winning 2-1 today.
And that's our cut of the game, sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. After dropping the first game of the series Monday, the Cards shut out the Mets Tuesday. Then the extra inning winner came on Wednesday. Today, the Cards are on the road after an off day yesterday. First road game of 2026, first road series of 2026. And then they'll head to Washington as they continue the series after their series with the Tigers. It's a 12:10 first pitch this afternoon as the Tigers celebrate their home opener. Michael McGreevy will make his second start of the season today. He had a great first outing, tossed 6 scoreless, hitless innings against the Rays Saturday afternoon at Busch Stadium. Framber Valdez will throw for the Tigers. Valdez threw 6 innings Friday at San Diego. He gave up just a single earned run. Valdez is in his first year with the Tigers after starting his career with 8 seasons in Houston. He was 13-11 last year for the Astros. Ameren Total Access gets underway at 11:15 this morning. St. Louis City will take the pitch in New York City tomorrow night. Coming off its first win of the year, City will take on New York City FC. New York is 3-1-1. Jen Cease with more in our City Spotlight.
St. Louis City SC is back in action this weekend as they head to face New York City FC, the first of 3 straight on the road. City is coming off that 3-1 home win over New England before the break, and head coach Yoann DeMay says the focus this week has been building on that momentum while sharpening key areas.
When you put those things together, it's about the consistency, and it's also about taking our chances. Like in LAFC, there is that unfortunate goal that is disallowed, like early in the game, maybe changes the game. So right now, when we play away, be able to capitalize on our chances, be a little bit more clinical and efficient in the final third, and at the same time, remain in the game for as long as possible and defend well. If you've got that clean sheet mentality and you're able to defend properly, then you get yourself more chance to come out of those games with a result.
City will look to carry that efficiency into New York this weekend without Celio Pompeu from his recent ACL injury. And though Edward Lubin is back in training, he's not roster ready just yet. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
And the Blues remain 5 points out of a playoff spot. They're at Anaheim tonight, and the puck drops at 9 o'clock. Next sports update is 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at ledermanlaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM on this Friday morning. We've got the calm before the storm. We'll get you the details on that in just a moment. But first, let's check the roadways. Looks like people may have taken Good Friday off. Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, Debbie. Friday mornings are lighter, but a Good Friday morning's even lighter than the average Friday morning. I don't even see a hint of a slowdown anywhere. Normally, we see a little bit of volume. At least in the next 20 minutes, we'd be hitting peak rush hour time. I do see a little bit of traffic on Lindbergh coming up right around Lindbergh High School, both directions, Lindbergh at Indian Park. But like I said, interstates, even in the construction zones, things continue to roll along, coming up from Festus and north of Bayless, 270 at Ladue, 70 out west, 64 coming in from Wentzville. They're both in good shape. And on the Illinois side, 64 at 159 through Fairview Heights. There's no issues in downtown. We're still clear across the Poplar. Again, a couple of stalls just recently cleared. North 270 at Olive and eastbound 270 past Washington Elizabeth. Never saw any delays even when they were out there. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is going to be fine today. Clouds and some sun, warm and humid this afternoon, high of 82. But the wet weather begins tonight. Could be some damaging winds, some hail, some potential flooding downpours, thunderstorms after midnight, and a possible isolated tornado. Lows in the mid to upper 50s. Tomorrow, a little rain in the morning. Otherwise, it's going to be breezy and cooler with plenty of clouds in the afternoon. Temperatures in the 50s. Easter Sunday looks pretty good, though. Sunny, breezy, cool, high of 60. And then Monday, sunny to partly cloudy, high of 62. Right now, it is 62 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:22. The St. Charles County Council took a moment to honor the life and service of a law enforcement icon.
We just have a moment of silent prayer for Sheriff Neer, who passed away last Friday. Just a moment.
That's Tom Neer, who started as a patrol officer in 1974 and rose through the ranks to serve as sheriff from 2004 to 2014. County Executive Steve Ellman says Neer was the right leader for a county experiencing rapid growth.
He turned our sheriff's department into a very professional organization, which it wasn't always like that. You know, as we got bigger and more sophisticated and the challenges got greater, he kept up with them.
Visitation for Sheriff Neer will be held tomorrow at Bowie Cave Springs starting at 10:30.
The city of Baldwin welcoming new neighbors. KMOX's Michael Calhoun explains.
2 subdivisions, Arbor Crest and Arbor Trails, have officially been annexed into the city, adding nearly 64 acres and 119 single-family homes to Baldwin's boundaries. Oak Brook Elementary School is now also part of the city. Both subdivisions petitioned the St. Louis County Boundary Commission last year, and that commission approved the move this past fall. City officials say current Baldwin residents won't see any tax increase as a result, and both new neighborhoods are represented in Ward 1.
Construction underway for a big bed and breakfast project in Forest Park Southeast.
The St. Louis Board of Adjustments is approving a zoning variance appeal from local business owner Alan Chang to turn his Manchester Avenue properties into a new bed and breakfast. Chang speaking to the board during its March meeting.
I've owned a bed and breakfast in the Central West End for almost 9 years. We've never had any issues as far as running it.
Officials say Chang's zoning variance request was initially denied because local rules don't permit building a bed and breakfast in that area. Now Chang will work toward completing a project valued at more than $4 million, converting the second and third floors of buildings in the 4200 block of Manchester Avenue into a combined bed and breakfast with guest rooms and suites and retail options on the ground floor. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
Once delayed by inflation, a high-rise apartment complex taking shape across from Forest Park.
The Albion Towers construction is finally underway and going vertical as well, as about the first 13 floors or so are up in the air. Looking right now at the concrete structure, we don't see any of the champagne and gold panels and the glass exterior from the renderings of what the building should look like quite yet, but you are beginning to get an idea on what the scale for at least the lower floors of this complex will be. It's going to sit right next to another luxury high-rise and sit right across from Forest Park as well, just adding to the skyline that overlooks the park. This construction has been long awaited as it was delayed by rising costs of inflation, but now the venture between the Koppler family and Clayco as well is starting to take shape. Across from Forest Park, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A downtown West nightclub may lose its license to stay open until 3 a.m. Neighbors of Europe nightclub on 15th Street across from City Museum testified during a city excise division hearing yesterday that the club fuels violence with shootings, fights, trash, and loitering.
A property owner nearby said police presence in the area has been non-existent, and at times 911 did not respond to calls from club patrons in emergency situations. Downtown Forward's Lisa Kaiser called the nightclub a detriment to the community. Europe Nightclub, one of a handful of bars downtown, licensed to stay open until 3 a.m.
The Justice Department is now joining the lawsuit against the organization that governs Missouri high school sports. Federal civil rights attorneys intervening on behalf of Dr. Merlin Johnson, who was disqualified from a MISHA board seat because the MISHA Constitution requires at-large seats to go to underrepresented genders or ethnicities. The DOJ calls that illegal and is asking a court to put a stop to a practice it calls, quote, especially harmful.
The city of St. Louis got roasted this week, and the guy doing it broadcasting to the biggest media market in the country. During the Mets-Cardinals afternoon game on SNY, play-by-play voice Gary Cohen and analyst Todd Zeal, who is a former Cardinal himself, noticed something missing from a live shot of downtown St. Louis. People.
The only thing missing from that picture, as is often missing from every picture we show of downtown St. Louis, no people.
No people. Well, you know, they want it to look picturesque. You can see a car driving by on the right. That's the only sign of life.
But there's never anybody walking around in downtown St. Louis.
It's not very often, you're right.
One St. Louisan retorts on X, quote, that's because it was 1 o'clock on a rainy Wednesday and everyone's at work and school.
Yeah, it was even like a rain delay, wasn't it, Wednesday for a long time? I mean, I don't know Gary Cohen, but you'd think Todd Zeal would at least have our back.
Well, he also has a history of taking shots at other markets as well. I think he knocked Skyline Chili in Cincinnati years ago. So
I mean, come on, you're from New York City. It's the biggest city.
Right.
Why
everything's going to look dead compared to where you are in St. Louis.
It's going to go around the country punching down.
I was kind of hoping Todd Zeal would have stuck up for us a little bit.
Give me a break, guys. I was inside too. I was downtown, but not walking around because it was raining. It is 7:28 and the time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
FanDuel.com.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler, and of course, the FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of KMOX and has been since the start of the year. Well, my history with FanDuel Sportsbook goes back way beyond that. I used to have to travel to use it, but now I get to do it in the comfort of my own home, which is great. And things are really heating up right now. They're heating up in the tournament, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost every single game day leading up to the championship game. So you can build a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. You can try live betting and jump in after a game tips off. I picked up a win like that in the Sweet 16. Best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. So all you have to do to get started is go to FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now until the championship game. FanDuel is where you get to play your game. Just remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. You can see all the terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Spring cleaning is upon us, but there's one meaningful box that you don't throw away when cleaning out your closet. It's the box filled with your family's important videotapes, film reels, and photos. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to help families organize and update their analog media to digital.
Legacy Box is simple and easy. It works and is safe. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box.
And Legacy Box has been featured in Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and Rachel Ray.
Legacy Box is like magic, converting your shoebox of memories to the cloud or thumb drive, ready to watch and share.
Declutter your closet by digitizing your media. Become more organized and accomplished, knowing your family's recorded past is safe forever. Take advantage of our spring cleaning sale going on now. It's the easiest task to check off your to-do list.
For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/radio.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. Ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
At 7:30, we have cloudy skies and 64 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. Here's Roger Brand. He's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Everything still looks great on these highways so far this morning. Everybody heading out the door on this Good Friday has an easy run. So, again, don't worry about if you're running a little late. You'll make up plenty of time on the highways because we're 10 minutes away from the peak of the rush hour, and there still aren't even any slowdowns out on these area interstates, even in the work zone. 70 at Wentzville, 270 at Ladue, 55 at Festus, the Merrimack River at Bayless, 64 through 159 in Fairview Heights. Everything's just light traffic and on the go, and no, we've had a few stalls every once in a while, but they've been cleared quickly. So at the end result is it's an easy run all the way around on both sides of the river. Next update is 7:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is going to be cloudy and sunny today, breezy, warm, humid this afternoon, high of 82. But tonight, that is when the wet weather comes. Drenching thunderstorms around midnight, potentially flooding downpours, potentially hail, damaging wind gusts, and maybe even an isolated tornado. Lows between 55 and 59 degrees. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 64 degrees downtown at the Arch.
An Alton man has been arrested on child grooming charges. 29-year-old James Williams taken into custody Tuesday on 3 charges, including grooming and solicitation to meet a child. The Edwardsville Police Department says Williams was a school district employee, and they're concerned there may be more victims. They're urging anyone with information to contact the Edwardsville Police Department.
Gas prices climbing heading into the weekend. AAA says the average price for a gallon of regular gas in Missouri, $3.49 yesterday, 6 cents more than last week, and 57 cents more than this time last year. In the St. Louis area, drivers paying even more, $3.78 a gallon, the highest among major Missouri metros. Nationally, the average $4.08, now 84 cents higher than a year ago. AAA says rising crude oil prices driven by Middle East tensions, the main factor pushing prices higher.
St. Louis City says they are better prepared for severe weather this spring after the tornado that tore through the city with no sirens activated last May. Beyond repairing and automating the sirens, Greg Favor, the city's new director of emergency management, is touting their partnership with the National Weather Service.
Not only tailored intelligence for what our expectations are, we gave them, here's what the health department is concerned about. Let us know anytime we get below this threshold. They not only update that throughout the day, throughout the week, they key us up when it looks like we may have something coming 2 or 3 days down the line.
The city says their work is far from done with broader changes like updating the 23-year-old emergency operations plan. It's in progress.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We will have your money report straight ahead. KMOX News Time, 7:33.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other. There's just a huge problem in your life. And then you win a giant jackpot. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
It is 7:35. This is Total Information AM. It's time for your Money Minute from Bloomberg, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. As oil prices spike to their highest in years, questions surround major oil companies as to whether they will increase production. One now says it will. In a statement to Bloomberg, the CEO of oil and gas giant Continental Resources says his company plans to ramp up production. Continental is the first prominent U.S. oil producer to say publicly that it plans to increase output amid the Iran war, which has crippled supplies from the Persian Gulf and sent crude futures soaring 50% in 4 weeks. After a dramatic drop at the start of the trading day, Wall Street yesterday reversed its path to finish mixed, an understandable move ahead of a long holiday weekend during which all sorts of things can happen geopolitically. The lights stay off today. Markets are closed for Good Friday, even as the government releases 2 key economic reports. March employment and unemployment forecast to show a modest increase in job creation, and the February trade deficit expected to have narrowed as higher prices crimped imports. Andrew Rodin, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
No one likes having to choose. That's why with America's best lineup of hybrids from Hyundai, you get the best of both worlds. Like the reliable and efficient Tucson Hybrid with America's best warranty. Or the stylish yet capable Santa Fe Hybrid with power to navigate the toughest terrain. It's like having your cake and eating it too. You know, if you could drive a cake. Hybrids from Hyundai. It's the best of both worlds. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people
at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin.
We're starting a program here in the upper GI space called PREVENT. That's the acronym, and it's really aimed at trying to detect these cancers early and even to kind of, reverse them and understand kind of the science behind why they form.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Nicholas joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
740 on Total Information AM. Brian Feldman alongside Debbie Monterrey. Let's get a check on the very clear roadways on this Good Friday from Roger Brand on the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, nobody should be complaining about their drive-in on these highways, Brian. You're absolutely right about that. This traffic report's the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. I see a little bit of a slowdown. It's really just the right lanes. Folks jockeying for position on North 270 right around the Clayton Road overpass as you get up to 64 and into the work zone there. And then, of course, the right lanes are the exit lanes to get on to 64. So that's just a little busy there, a little slow. But this is the peak rush hour time, 740, and that's the only slowdown we have on the interstates right now. Everything else looks great. I do see some backed up traffic both ways, more so northbound than southbound on Lindbergh in front of Lindbergh High School. So just watch it if you're headed into that area, but that's pretty much par for the course this time of day. I did just get a note from St. Louis County Transportation, some good news on a Good Friday for you. Kiefer Creek Road, immediately north of Castlewood Road in Baldwin, has reopened to traffic. So I assume they just did that within the last hour or so. The road was closed since March 9th for a culvert replacement project there. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
It is now 7:41 and time for us to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. Looking out the window here, I do see clouds, Joe, but I see sunshine as well. It looks like a lovely morning, which I guess we should enjoy it while we can.
Indeed, because it's going to change throughout the day. Now, we had one thunderstorm roll by the area early this morning. That's now out of the way. We will see some sun at times today. It'll become breezy and very warm this afternoon. Winds are pretty calm right now. And you're actually going to feel the humidity this afternoon, too. Could be the fuel for a late afternoon thunderstorm in spots, the high 82. And that risk of a shower or thunderstorm lingers early tonight. But then a line of heavier thunderstorms will roll through later tonight. They could produce hail, damaging winds, flooding downpours, of course, and even a threat for tornadoes. That low tonight, 55 to 59. And tomorrow, the rain exits early. The rest of the day is dry, but breezy and much chillier. Really little, if any, in the way of sunshine. Temperatures in the 50s for the most part tomorrow. Much better for Easter Sunday. It'll be cool in the morning with sunshine. Will warm to 60 in the afternoon. More sunshine Monday, the high 62, mid-50s, but partly sunny on Tuesday. Right now, it's 61 at St. Peter, 64 in Florissant. Cloud, a little bit of sunshine, and 66 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Cards and Tigers coming up later this afternoon right here on KMOX. I'll tell you more about that one coming up in sports.
The news continues at 7:43. Artemis 2 well on its way to the moon. The crew fast asleep. And CBS News correspondent Peter King has a look at what's ahead for their day.
Activities include checkouts of the medical kit, practicing CPR techniques, and testing out the Orion spacecraft's ability to communicate with NASA's Deep Space Network ground stations. That's something that hasn't happened for a human spaceflight since 1972. Artemis 2 is coasting uphill as it escapes the Earth's gravitational pull. The moon's influence will take over early Monday.
The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem was able to hold a Good Friday service at Calvary and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem.
Dixi Deus meus est tu in manibus tuis sortes me.
Earlier this week, authorities prevented the Roman Catholic cardinal from entering the church to hold a Palm Sunday service. That church is located inside the Basilica in Jerusalem's Old City, traditionally believed to be the site of Jesus' crucifixion and burial.
Eggs to decorate for Easter this year will cost much less than they did last year.
Government figures say retail egg prices in the U.S. averaged $2.50 per dozen in February compared to $6.23 in March 2025, a 60% drop. Bird flu was to blame for the spikes last year, and the fact that it's eased considerably is a big reason prices are so much lower now. The outbreak forced the slaughter of entire broods of egg-laying hens, but egg supplies have improved as farmers replenish those flocks. Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
A giant coffee giant adding incentives for baristas to up their game.
Starbucks says it'll expand tipping options when customers pay with credit or debit cards for mobile orders. Right now, they only pop up when you're paying for orders in store or in drive-through lanes. The coffee chain will also offer new bonuses of up to $300 a quarter for baristas and shift supervisors who score top internal ratings. Altogether, the changes could boost overall compensation by 5 to 8%. The Starbucks Workers Union says it'll fight for a contract that addresses better pay. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Cardinals open a series today, with the Detroit Tigers. It'll be an afternoon start, and they'll turn to right-hander Michael McGreevy to make his second start of the season. Last year, McGreevy went 8-4 in 16 starts for the Redbirds. He made 4 early starts, then really settled into the rotation for good after the All-Star break. His first outing in 2026, well, it was a good one. 6 scoreless, hitless innings against the Rays Saturday at Busch Stadium. He didn't get the decision, but the Cards got the win. And McGreevy said after the game, he used everything he had against the Rays.
Keeping their hitters off balance, using all 7 of my pitches today for both lefties and righties, and especially when they stack the lineup with lefties and good lefties at that. I was very happy to keep them at bay.
McGreevy said the advantage of having 7 pitches, it's essentially the element of surprise.
That's the goal. You don't want to fall into patterns. When you got 7, it should be easy not to fall into patterns. If something's working, then go back to it. But I think just from being on the mound, it was a good mix of, hey, I don't think they know what's coming, minus a few pitches.
McGreevy will face a Detroit offense that's not been great yet this year. Tigers are 27th of 30 big league teams in terms of OPS, 21st in batting average. Tigers are 20th in on base and dead last in baseball in slugging percentage. On the mound, the Cards will face lefty Framber Valdez in today's opener. He makes his second start for Detroit after signing there in the offseason. He threw 6 innings in his first outing of the year. That was Friday at San Diego. He allowed a single earned run in the start. Ameren Total Access today gets underway at 11:15, and the first pitch comes at 12:10. The Blues remain out west tonight. That follows an overtime loss of the Kings on Wednesday. They'll be at Anaheim tonight. Blues have 74 points. They remain 5 points out of a playoff spot with 8 games to play in the regular season. Anaheim leads the Pacific Division with 87 points. Puck drops tonight at 9 o'clock St. Louis time. St. Louis City on the pitch tomorrow at New York City FC. St. Louis is 1-3-1 following its first win of the year 2 weeks ago against New England. New York kind of went the opposite way. They won its first 3 games, dropped its last game on the 22nd against Miami. Kickoff tomorrow is 6:30. You can hear that game on our sister station, Y98. Tonight, it is the women's Final Fours. It gets underway with 4 number 1 seeds. It'll be South Carolina and UConn in the early game. That's a 6 o'clock start. And then it's Texas and UCLA in the late game. That is an 8:30 start. Tomorrow, it's the men's Final Four in Indianapolis. Third seeded Fighting Illini will face number 2 seed UConn just after 5 o'clock in the first game. And the second game is a pair of top seeds as Michigan faces Arizona. That game tips just before 8. Those winners meet Monday for the men's national championship game. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Spring cleaning rule number 1, out with the old, in with the new. And frankly, your family's old internet connection is a dinosaur. Upgrade to the 1 gig modern family standard from i3 Broadband. It's 100% true in-home fiber with equal upload and download speeds, so your teenager's gaming won't crash your video call. Even better, we're currently offering our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. Say goodbye to exploding promo prices and hello to budget certainty. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right.
Calling all runners. Register now for the Cardinals 5K on Saturday, April 18th. And you can take a victory lap on the field at Busch Stadium. Don't miss this chance to bring the whole family for a fun St. Louis 5K race that brings fans together to support kids in the community. The Cardinals 5K, Saturday, April 18th. Register now at cardinals.com/5K. And for more information, just head to KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:50, and we're going to get you updated here on traffic and weather. Sun's shining now in downtown St. Louis, but probably not lasting for long. Storms are on the way. Details after we check in with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, not too many folks bothered by that, son. If you're seeing it in your eyes, or especially if you're headed eastbound, there's just not a lot of volume out there today, Debbie. Obviously, on a Good Friday morning, it's pretty easy going. There are just a few slight slowdowns. I mentioned one last time up. Northbound 270 approaching the Clayton Road overpass. Those right lanes are a little bogged down there. We have a little bit of a slowdown eastbound 70 between Cave Springs and Zumbel. The right lane, southbound 270 from the Rock Road down onto the 70 ramps. They're kind of off the pace right now as well. Southbound 67 south of Highway Y right around St. Francis State Park. It looks a little busy. One injury crash reported in the last couple of minutes. 141 at Lone Star Drive. That's 141 like midway between 55 and Jeffco Boulevard. But again, traffic doesn't look bad there. And the jams we had on Lindbergh in front of Lindbergh High School have thinned out in the last 10 minutes. So I guess everybody's in there and classes are beginning. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, weather-wise, we're going to have sun and clouds today, like we're seeing this morning, and a high of 82 degrees. It'll be humid, and there is a chance of a thunderstorm around this afternoon, but the real storms are going to be coming through after midnight, drenching thunderstorms. We could see flooding downpours, hail, damaging wind gusts. Isolated tornado is not out of the realm of possibility. And all of that storm activity is going to push the warm temperatures out. So today's high 82, tomorrow's high will be in the 50s, and we'll start out with a little rain tomorrow, then just breezy and cloudy. Easter Sunday, at least we'll have sunshine and a high of 60. We are warmer than that now with partly cloudy skies and 64 degrees in downtown St. Louis. It's 7:52. Officials say the bones police dug out of a yard in Berkeley Tuesday are not human. Berkeley police discovered the bone fragments while excavating a backyard on Jefferson Avenue after receiving a tip about the possible remains of 16-year-old Shamika Cozy, who disappeared in 2008. The fragments were handed over to the St. Louis County Medical Examiner's Office for examination. And the office now says those bones were from an animal, not a human. Officers say they will continue digging when the weather permits. Layoffs could be coming soon at a major life sciences company that employs 2,300 people in St. Louis. MilliporeSigma issued a statement this week saying it's reviewing how its customer service work is organized worldwide as part of a restructuring effort. According to the Business Journal, some St. Louis jobs could be shifted to regional hubs. MilliporeSigma has been part of the St. Louis community since 1934. What's behind an apparent return to faith for young people, especially Gen Z men? As KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer reports, it's an interesting question as we are in the midst of Holy Week and Passover for the faithful.
A new Washington Post article examines why Gen Z men are flocking to Catholicism. Former priest Jonathan Morris says the return to faith for younger people began right after COVID, especially in big cities, when their lives drastically changed and they began to ask, what is life all about?
Right? Remember the great infamous German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who said God is dead, who said there's no life, there's no purpose, there's no meaning in our existential being. And these Gen Z now church attendees are saying, that's not true. We're going to find reason. They're going to the more traditional places to find that.
The Washington Post piece suggests young men are increasingly drawn to the Catholic Church as they seek truth, beauty, and, yes, girlfriends. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Yesterday was World Autism Day. KMOX spoke with author Kara Dalton about her book Archie at the Arch, which follows a young boy with autism as he prepares and navigates a trip to the St. Louis Arch. But Dalton says she wants both parents and children to be able to learn from and implement the tools Archie uses in this book.
They really navigate the world on routine and schedules, so knowing what comes next is very important for them.
Some tools Dalton suggests to parents are things like noise-canceling headphones, sensory toys, and planned breaks, all of which Archie uses in the book. New York Mets announcer Gary Cohen didn't just take a shot at St. Louis Wednesday. He nuked it. Cohen and analyst, former Cardinal Todd Zeal, compared downtown St. Louis to a city wiped clean of humans by a neutron bomb.
There's never anybody walking around in downtown St. Louis.
It's not very often, you're right.
It's like, remember the old neutron bomb that wouldn't knock down buildings but just would eliminate all the people? It's like one of those hit St. Louis.
I guess it's just the photo op. People then run and hide, so they're not in the photo.
People on social media pointing out it was 1 o'clock on a Wednesday and it was raining. There was a rain delay and no one was walking around. Anyway, Cohen's been down this road before. Cincinnati still hasn't forgiven him for trashing Skyline Chili on the air back in 2021, although some of us would have expected better from Todd Zeal. Card Vault by Tom Brady has set its grand opening at Ballpark Village for next Thursday, April 9th. The sports collectible store right across from Busch Stadium in the space formerly occupied by Arch Apparel. It opens at 10 a.m. that day with a special guest appearance and giveaways. The first 25 customers in line will get a limited edition St. Louis themed hat, and attendees can enter to win a Jordan Walker autographed mini batting helmet. It's 7:56.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Retirement. Exciting in one way, scary in others. How do you find the financial advisor that covers all the bases? Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're heading out the door right now, like I've been saying, Debbie, highways are in pretty good shape for the most part. We do have, I mentioned the delays on the ramp coming down South 270 through the Rock Road. That's due to a crash. The ramp is right now blocked, so there's no traffic getting through that ramp again. South 270 to get on to Highway 70 currently shut down. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Friday, April 3rd. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. After a teenager fatally shot another at a track meet, a community will gather in search of answers. I've got that story coming up.
The network formerly known as Fox Sports Midwest is now officially calling it quits. I'm Michael Calhoun with what the Blues could do next.
Hancock and Kelley will get the latest military analysis from CBS military correspondent Cammie McCormick coming up at 8:11.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. More clouds and sun today. Breezy, very warm but humid this afternoon with a thunderstorm later on, high 82.
The acting attorney general insists Pam Bondi was not fired over her handling of the Epstein files. That's coming up next.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The jobs market is looking up. U.S. payrolls defied expectations and rose by 178,000 in March. The driving force? CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Now, a lot of that job creation took place in healthcare, which added 76,000 jobs. Many of those jobs that were lost in February due to a nursing strike came back online in March. There were also jobs created in the construction area, 26,000, and transportation and warehousing added 21,000.
The unemployment rate dropped to 4.3%. More than a day after he said it would be up to other nations to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, President Trump has just posted to Truth Social the U.S. could open the critical waterway and take the oil. Fighting continues in the Middle East. Correspondent Ramy Inocencio is at the foreign desk.
Overnight, Israel said it intercepted missiles and that a train station in Tel Aviv was damaged, but there were no reports of any casualties. Kuwait said that one of its oil refineries was hit, not for the first time, though, but for the third time in this war, along with a desalination plant.
Video shows smoke rising from the highest bridge in the Middle East that links Tehran and Western Karaj. Cuba has just issued a massive pardon.
Cuba says it released more than 2,000 prisoners in one of its largest mass pardons in years. The government is calling it a humanitarian gesture and says those freed include women, young people, and older inmates, but not those convicted of violent crimes. And it's not clear how many political prisoners, if any, are among those getting out. The move comes as the island faces a deep economic and energy crisis. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Artemis 2 is now on its way to loop the moon, sending the crew deeper into space than any human has gone before. Correspondent Peter King has an update on the mission.
The day after the engine firing that got them out of Earth orbit, the crew will do 3 smaller burns for mid-course corrections to keep them on track. As part of their series of checkouts in the Orion spacecraft, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen will practice and record CPR techniques that could help future Orion crews. Glover and Commander Reed Weissman will also check out parts of their medical kit.
This is Good Friday, and in Paris, worshippers outside the Cathedral of Notre Dame joined clergy walking the way of the cross and retelling the events leading up to Jesus' crucifixion. The faithful also marked the day with fasting and prayer ahead of Easter Sunday. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
It is 8:03, and right now, you probably couldn't guess we've got some storms on the way. It's partly cloudy, 63 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and an early morning interstate crash leaves one dead. Police responded to a car crash on I-70 heading east near Union this morning around 1. That crash involved at least 5 vehicles, including 2 pickup trucks. One pedestrian was killed in the accident. Several others were transported to a hospital, according to our partners at Fox 2. The interstate reopened about 6 o'clock this morning. St. Louis police say they carried out one of the largest search warrants in years at a condemned Southside apartment complex. Those apartments in the 3600 block of Illinois in the Marine Villa neighborhood in South St. Louis. 63 people were written tickets for occupying a condemned building. 13 arrested on a variety of charges, including possession of an illegal weapon or drug trafficking. The department says there have been 158 service calls in that block in the past year. This weekend, state and federal leaders will meet with the community for solutions after a tragic shooting.
Everyone who leaves that meeting needs to know, here's what I can do next.
State Representative Kim Smith of Florissant says her daughter attends McClure South Berkeley Steam High, where a 14-year-old was killed after allegedly being shot by a 13-year-old. Smith says this tragedy could have been avoided if better communication was in place.
From what I am hearing, the children arranged to be at this fight through social media. So there were people who knew in advance. And those children didn't warn an adult, and if they did, the adult didn't take action.
The meeting is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at the Calvary Bible Church on Graham Road. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
In Festus, a group of residents so upset about city council approval of a data center proposal, they're working to boot those city officials out of office.
Ryan Sciarra lives in unincorporated Festus, his property across Highway 67 from the proposed site. He hopes residents take their feelings to the polls next Tuesday as 4 incumbents face challenges. He tells KMOX the other 4, plus the city's mayor, are named in a citizen's petition seeking a recall vote.
We're going to have a lot of folks at the polls with petitions for people to be able to sign.
The citizens group has very little time to mount that challenge. Sherman Doyle is one of 11 homeowners targeted for buyout by developer Chris McKee of CRG.
On the 23rd is when we kicked off the recall effort. So we have 60 days from the 23rd. And it really comes down to, the amount of registered voters in the wards and then overall, so the city. So it's 25%.
Those petition signatures would have to be certified by the county clerk to move forward with any recall vote. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
What is going to happen next season for Blues fans? That question just got urgent.
Sports Business Journal reports that Main Street Sports Group, the company that's behind FanDuel Sports Network, is shutting down the moment the Blues are done with the first round of the playoffs. The network has not cut the Blues a single check in 2026. Teams are now racing to find new broadcast homes, both from basketball and hockey. Streaming services and local over-the-air television are both on the table. Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest already has a foot in the door. The Blues and the Ducks are playing tonight on Channel 4 at 9.
Gas prices. If you're filling up this weekend, expect to pay more than you did a year ago. The national average is $4.08. That's as of yesterday, up 84 cents from this time last year. In St. Louis, drivers are paying $3.78 a gallon. Across the river, and it's even more in Illinois, $4.21 a gallon. AAA says instability in global energy markets plus the war in Iran are pushing those crude oil prices higher. Although eggs cost much less than they did a year ago.
Government figures say retail egg prices in the U.S. averaged $2.50 per dozen in February compared to $6.23 in March 2025, a 60% drop. Bird flu was to blame for the spikes last year, and the fact that it's eased considerably is a big reason prices are so much lower now. The outbreak forced the slaughter of entire broods of egg-laying hens, but egg supplies have improved as farmers replenish those flocks. Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
From the KMOX business desk, the downtown Clayton building that's home to Chipotle has a new owner. Hoffman Commercial Real Estate purchased the building at 1 North Central Avenue. No purchase price disclosed. Hoffman CRE is backed by the billionaire who has bought into Missouri wine country and also is the new majority owner of the Post-Dispatch. The Business Journal reporting the relatively short building is 100% leased. Other tenants include Hot Box Cookies and St. Louis Suit Company. Hoffman also owns the Pierre Laclede Center and the Moneta building. It is 8:08, and we'll take a look at traffic and weather coming up next.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's go to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center and check in with Roger Brand.
Well, Michael, it's been a great morning out on the area highways. Just one problem spot we have right now, and that's this crash on the ramp from southbound 270. You get onto Highway 70 at the top of the hour. When I mentioned the crash, they had the ramp completely blocked. Now they have the right lane open, so only the left lane is shut down. So you can get past this crash. The ramp, of course, is backed up, and once you get around it, you still have access to either east or westbound 70. So it's just a brief delay getting through there, just that short jam on the ramp against South 270 before you get to the 70 ramps. The left lane's blocked, the right lane is open. Other than that, the rest of these highways, as they have all morning long, continue to cruise along. We had a couple little slow spots here and there, but North 270 past Clayton Road, eastbound 70 past Cave Springs were a couple of them. They've thinned out, and in the construction zones, there are still no delays. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Outside of a thunderstorm early this morning, we'll see clouds and some intervals of sun today. It'll be breezy, very warm, and feeling kind of humid with this afternoon with a late-day thunderstorm, high 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a couple of drenching thunderstorms primarily after midnight, when any thunderstorm can produce downpours, hail, damaging winds, even an isolated tornado. Tonight's low in the mid to upper 50s. A little rain to start the day tomorrow. Otherwise, cloudy, breezy, a much chillier temperature will hold in the 50s. Easter Sunday, sunshine returns, a cool breeze, high 60. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Time for the Friday edition of Hancock and Kelley.
You two belong together.
John Hancock, Michael Kelley on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Good Friday morning, John Hancock.
Top of the morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. And boy, we've got a celebrity guest on the line.
Yes, indeed,
not?
we do. Our favorite, Colonel Jeff McCausland, retired colonel from the U.S. Army, and he is also a CBS News military analyst. Colonel McCausland, welcome aboard. President Trump gave an address on Wednesday night. I don't feel like we learned much.
I would have to agree to you guys. Happy Easter, by the way, that we learned much at all. It seemed to be, I would always say, a summary of Mr. Trump's social media greatest hits with respect to the war in Iran. I mean, the president did talk about, to some degree, which is, I think, the basic idea was to try to explain to the American people how we got where we got. And so he talked about some of the historical aspects of that. I thought it was very curious that he talked about how long wars are. He talked about the length of World War II, Korea, Vietnam, et cetera, sort of suggesting that the American people should have a bit of patience. But if you want me to have patience, it would seem that the president would have given this speech before the war began, explained to the public why it was necessary, not unlike George W. Bush did, quite frankly, in his State of the Union address back in 2003, whereas Mr. Trump spent a grand total of 3 minutes during his State of the Union talking about Iran. And then he went from there to what his objectives were, which seems to be the goalposts kind of are moving, guys. He talked about blooding their missile capacity. Well, a report came out yesterday from the intel services that about half of their capacity is still retained. He suddenly said, well, I'm not really worried about this nuclear material anymore because we can monitor it from space. And if they start to resurrect it, we'll go get them again. Well, we could have done that before the war began. I thought that was the biggest reason why we went to war. And then he said, well, and I was never interested in regime change. But I happen to recall him talking about that at the very beginning, that the people should rise up. I happen to recall him talking about demanding unconditional surrender, which is kind of regime change. I kind of remember him talking about he should be individually involved in selecting the next leader of Iran. It sounds like regime change, but suddenly now we're not. So I'm not really sure that he was successful in convincing the people that this was, the proper thing to do. And in the midst of all that, of course, the Iranians were firing missiles at Israel and at our allies in the region. And in the aftermath, the stock market went down and the price of oil went up.
Yeah, I saw a video clip yesterday of Zbigniew Brzezinski, who was the former national security advisor for Bill Clinton, I believe.
Clinton and Carter.
Clinton Carter. And he made the point, and this was, I don't know, decades ago, about the risks of going to war against Iran. And he outlined the bombing of our allies in the Middle East. He outlined the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, all of this stuff was known. Surely it had to have been known by the military folks at the Pentagon, right?
All I can tell you guys, I've only been doing this military stuff for about 50 years now, okay? And for a good portion of that time, I was the dean of the United States Army War College. And every year we ran war games as part of the training and education of the students. In almost every case, the scenario had something to do with the Middle East. And in every case, if you start doing a scenario in the Middle East, the first thing you worry about is the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, because 20% of the world's oil supply passes through that particular passage, and that's the way it's been for years. So I know for a fact that we looked at that problem over and over and over and over, and I'm confident the people down in war plans in the Army staff and on the Joint Staff had done that repeatedly as well. So it shouldn't have been a surprise to anyone, but somehow it was a surprise to the president and his cabinet.
Secretary of Defense Hegseth continues to remove generals from positions, most recently the head of the United States Army. What kind of message is that sending to our enemies and potential enemies around the world?
That we're in disarray, I think, to a degree. In the middle of a major conflict, to fire the Chief of Staff of the United States Army as you're deploying more and more Army troops to an area of conflict certainly is not reassuring. No particular reason was given. I mean, Mr. General Randy George is not in ill health or anything like that. He was not accused of anything. It basically looks like a power play because the Secretary of Defense has now fired the Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, who happened to be an African-American, fired the CNO, fired the Commandant of the Coast Guard, both happen to be women, fired the Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, now has fired the Chief of Staff of the Army. I guess if I was Commandant of the Marine Corps, I'd be looking over my shoulder. But most people thought that this was handwriting on the wall because he had previously fired the Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, a guy named Jim Mingus, and promoted a guy by the name of Chris Leneve, who had been commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, to be the new Vice Chief of Staff of the Army. Well, prior to that, Leneve's job had been military assistant to Hegseth, was very close to Hegseth. So as soon as he got to be Vice Chief of Staff back in January, most people thought General George's time as the chief of staff were numbered.
Well, I know we've just got about a minute left with you, and you mentioned the 82nd Airborne, and they've been shipped into the Middle East. We've got all of these troops that have been sent there. What do you make of it?
What I make of it is, of course, the war's not going as it was intended. It's supposed to last only a few days, and we thought that the regime would collapse. I mean, I think that the president was emboldened by what happened in Venezuela and thought that that was a template he could apply in Iran. Now it's found that's not the case. As air power has been applied to great destruction, it's still in all. The Iranians reacted much more broadly than we expected as well. And now there's an effort to try to find some way to get out of this, so at least preserve the option to use ground troops, either because that threat will leverage them to come to the negotiating table or the necessity of doing something on the ground. You got three big possible targets, all of which are very complex and frankly would incur significant casualties, I'm fear. One would be, of course, to go into the center of Iran physically and secure this about 960 pounds of enriched material we know they have, which would be the center point of them trying to develop a nuclear weapon. Unbelievably complex special operations mission would make the operation into Venezuela look really easy. The second operation would be seize Karg Island, which is the main export point for Iranian crude oil and natural gas, but it's way up in the northern part of the Gulf, very close to Iran. Physically getting there would be very, very difficult because you'd need to bring a force into the Persian Gulf. Well, you got to deal with the straits to do that. And then once you get there, even if you can secure the island, you got to stay there, and you're within artillery, short-range missile, and drone fire of the Iranian mainland. Oh, by the way, quick historical footnote. Curiously enough, Karg Island is about the same size as Iwo Jima, so keep that in the back of your mind. And the third military operation with ground forces would be to secure a portion of the straits, the land area on the Iranian side of the straits, to facilitate that operation. But again, mountainous terrain, you'd have to go in fairly deep to push their missiles back so they couldn't still threaten the Gulf. Would be a very, very significant and difficult military operation.
Colonel Jeff McCausland has been our guest. Thank you so much, Colonel, and happy Easter to you and your family. Hancock and Kelley rolls on after this.
Let's go to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Captain Roger Brand.
Well, John, it's pretty easy going out there. It has been all morning. The only trouble spot we have on the highways right now is the ramp from southbound 270 get onto Highway 70. We have a crash. They have the left lane of the ramp locked, so the right lane's open, and you can get by this crash. It's just right over top of the Rock Road, basically, and you can still access either east or westbound 70, so it's not at the decision point, but it is on the ramp that leads you to that, and so that ramp is backed up, but the through lanes on 270 are on the go, and so are the rest of the interstates on both sides of the river. I'm not seeing any other delays out there right now. Just a little heads up, we got a notice from St. Louis County Transportation a little while ago that Kiefer Creek Road, immediately north of Castlewood Road, has reopened to traffic. That road was closed on March 9th for a culvert replacement project. So there's a little good news on your Good Friday. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is 67 degrees in downtown St. Louis. A chance of thunderstorms this afternoon and some sun, sometimes breezy, very warm and humid, a high of 82. The rain comes drenching in tomorrow.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it.
Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to. Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Total Information AM moves on. Michael Kelley, John Hancock with you this morning, this Good Friday morning. And for adherents of the Christian faith, this is the most holy time of the calendar. It's Good Friday, the day that we acknowledge the fact that Jesus Christ was crucified and took the full punishment for the sins of man upon himself, was separated from God the Father, was buried, and 3 days hence was resurrected from the dead. And that's what we will celebrate on Easter Sunday morning. And for me, Michael, this is a very impactful time of the year.
Absolutely. But saying Good Friday may not be appropriate because it's a very somber day. Now, Thursday night would have been the night that Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? And
yes, that's called Maundy Thursday on the Christian calendar. And that was the evening of the Last Supper, where Jesus washed the disciples' feet, proving himself to be a true servant, and acknowledged at that dinner that one of the disciples at that table was going to betray him, which of course was Judas Iscariot. And that then happened in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Right. But then we also have Peter, who denies him, and Peter, who also cuts off the ear of one of the soldiers that comes to detain him. And that's where Jesus uses the line, not fighting with swords, put down your sword. He who fights with the sword dies by the sword.
Yeah, Peter's a really interesting case study in this whole period of time, because he denies Jesus 3 times as Jesus is being held captive. And then the rooster crows, right, just as Christ had prophesied. Oh, by the way, there are over 300 Old Testament prophecies that are fulfilled in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, which is fascinating from a historical perspective. But Peter, who denies Christ, then after the resurrection, the Bible says that Jesus and Peter were talking, and 3 times Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" And Peter said he did, and then went on to become, Peter, one of the most profoundly impactful men in the history of the world, and what he did. And Peter too was murdered at the end of his life, as were most of the disciples.
Peter is the founder of the Catholic Church. But John, this is not only a holy time for Christians, it's a holy time for
Passover,
the Jewish faith, the Passover, and as well as the Muslim faith. And this is all happening at a time that there's a war taking place in the Holy Land, which is the central area of the start of all 3 of these religions.
Yeah, no question about that. And so for those of you that are celebrating the Passover or Easter, blessings to you from Hancock and Kelley. We return after just a couple of minutes right here on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX. The news time is 8:27, sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Stamps.com.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
He's sitting in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center. And Captain, is there any traffic out there on Good Friday?
No, it's been a light morning, Michael. It's been a great morning all the way around. No weather, no issues. Just the one issue we've had. That's the only one we've had all morning. It's still with us. It's on the ramp up in North County here. The ramp from southbound 270 getting onto Highway 70. A crash on that ramp. They had the ramp shut down temporarily. Now they have tow trucks on the scene. The left lane is blocked. The right lane of the ramp is open. And again, it's before you get to the decision point. So you just have to squeeze through past the crash scene. And then you still have access to both east and westbound 70 after that. So the ramp is backed up itself, but South 270 is rolling along. Like I said, that's the only trouble spot we have and really that we've had all morning long. Next update at 8:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, temperature is about 66 degrees out there right now. Thunderstorm coming up tonight. Possible tornadoes overnight tonight here in St. Louis.
So last night, John, I was watching some of the old speeches that John Kennedy had given back in the day.
Wow.
And I got a question for you. It's not necessarily political.
All right.
Why is it that the Kennedys, when he would use the word idea, IDEA,
yeah,
you and I would say it idea.
Idea.
You'd say it idea. Where does that even come from? Where is the R? It's like Missouri people who call it Missouri. Where's the A?
It's a regional dialect. It's my people that would say ID.
ID.
I got an ID about that.
Is that right?
Yeah. So people have different. That's why
is that called a colloquialism?
Colloquialism.
Colloquialism.
Yeah. Yes.
So we've got some of those here in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, Highway 40.
Highway 40.
Mm-hmm.
What about the jar? Open the jar and grab your stuff out of there.
Yeah. You got that, and you got to wash your clothes, every now and then.
So here in St. Louis, we call it soda. I remember, hey, can I get a glass of soda? And then I had a friend of mine who was from Chicago, and they called it pop.
Pop.
Now, is that does that fall in the same realm of this kind of stuff?
It does. In some places, it's a sodie.
A sodie?
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't like that. It sounds like you're talking to a 3-year-old.
Well, my roots go back to the Ozark Hills. I mean, I'm literally a hillbilly.
Well, it's amazing that you can put together a sentence.
And it is. But, I mean, Ewans,
Yeah.
Are Ewans coming over? Or
Now, would President Trump's constant use of the word like hot and big and beautiful and never seen anything like it, I guess that doesn't necessarily fall under whatever that word is.
Why did you choose this topic when neither one of us can pronounce the word?
Yeah, well, because I wanted to hear you suffer through it as well. I like when you suffer through words.
You've accomplished that.
But it annoys me, especially from the Northeasterns where they put the R onto everything. I got a good idea.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You got a good idea.
Yeah.
Where is the R in that word?
Well,
it aggravates me about Missouri. Where is the A in that word?
Well, if you go back to the Mazurka Indians, Michael, the origin of the name of the state, it does end in an
Yeah, but okay,
So
great. But that's not the name of the state.
One could
We're
make
not the Mazurka. We're Missouri.
Well, you can say Missouri, but Missouri is also accurate.
When somebody says
the I can be hard or soft.
When somebody uses the word Missouri, I think they ought to be wearing one of those ties that's like a string with a little what do they call them? Bowline ties?
A bolo tie.
A bolo tie.
Yeah,
do you have one of those?
I do.
Of course you do. You wear it with your cowboy hat?
Yes, I do. That's Michael Kelley. We'll be back. Hey, we're going to talk about the Artemis. We're going to talk about the Cardinals when we come back right here on KMOX.
I've been burned before. I was just repeating the same patterns. It turns out I had a type.
Workplaces everywhere are looking for love. And by love, we mean the easy way to order food at work. Easy Cater.
I thought ordering from great restaurants at work had to be complicated, but then I met Easy Cater. So many options, so flexible, and when I ordered for 50 gluten-free vegans without going over budget, I knew I'd found the platform I wanted to do life and lunch with.
Fall in love with Easy Cater. Start an order at easycater.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Money Report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. More tariffs. The Trump administration says it will impose tariffs on certain imported medicines with rates of as much as 100%. The move is to pressure drug makers to manufacture more in the U.S. The new levy applies to patented drugs made in countries that lack tariff deals with the USA. Tariffs on imports from major economies that cut deals with the White House will be capped at 15%. Medicines made by companies that commit to some U.S. manufacturing would see tariffs at 20% max. In a bipartisan effort to help Washington further constrain Beijing's technology ambitions, U.S. lawmakers have introduced a draft bill to restrict exports of chip-making tools to China. The legislation targets companies like ASML Holding of the Netherlands and Tokyo Electron. The bill, called the Match Act, aims to subject those companies to the same curbs as their American rivals and introduce new controls affecting both foreign and U.S. firms. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler, and of course the FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of KMOX and has been since the start of the year. Well, my history with FanDuel Sportsbook goes back way beyond that. I used to have to travel to use it, but now I get to do it in the comfort of my own home, which is great. And things are really heating up right now. They're heating up in the tournament, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost every single game day leading up to the championship game. So you can build a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. You can try live betting and jump in after a game tips off. picked up a win like that in the Sweet 16. Best of all with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. So all you have to do to get started is go to FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now until the championship game. FanDuel is where you get to play your game. Just remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. You can see all the terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey guys, Glover here with my good friend John Moriarty. John and I have been friends and business partners for years now. He is the principal at E3 Consultant Group, and he is back in the DGS fold. So John, introduce yourself to the listeners.
I am so happy to be back and also happy to talk about our firm, E3. We have over 70 advisors, Dave, now in multiple cities, working with our clients on the wealth, tax, insurance, asset protection, business consulting side. One of my biggest passions right now is working with business owners and trying to help them reduce their tax liability, improve their cash flow for future generations.
I've known John for years and years and years now. John is a good guy, very smart, excellent pitcher in baseball. That means a lot to me. You have
those days are long gone.
You have a new book out.
We do have a new book out. It's called The Entrepreneur Playbook, written for business owners that have an entrepreneurial mindset. And the book should be dropping on Amazon probably in the next 30 days. And we've got white papers that are supporting it. A lot of that information is going to be on our website at e3wealth.com. But the key thing to me, Dave, is we try to keep creating educational tools for business owners, individuals, families, so that they can protect the purpose of their money.
So whether you are interested in classic personal retirement, business growth, or just an overall tax strategy, reach out to my friend John at e3wealth.com.
Looking for a career change? Well, the Gelman team with eXp Realty is hiring. Their unmatched blueprint to success, real support, and proven systems help agents take their business to the next level. Level up your future and earning potential. Take the first step at thegelmanteam.com.
I'm Debbie Monterrey in the newsroom, and here is what's making news. A channel affiliated with Iranian state television claims a U.S. fighter pilot ejected from their aircraft over southwestern Iran. It's not clear what may have happened to the plane, including whether Iran was claiming it was shot down or if there was some other issue. President Trump's 2027 budget includes a $1.5 trillion defense spending request, the largest of its kind in decades. Officials say the bones police dug out of a yard in Berkeley on Tuesday are not human. They thought it could be part of the possible remains of 16-year-old Shamika Cozy, who disappeared in 2008. A downtown West nightclub may lose its license to stay open after 3 a.m. Neighbors of Europe nightclub on 15th Street by City Museum testified during a city excise division hearing yesterday that the club fuels violence with shootings, fights, trash, and loitering.
Captain Roger Brand is watching the empty roads on the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, and watching this crash up in North County right now, Michael. That's the only trouble spot we have. This traffic report's a service of I-3 Broadband. It's that crash on the ramp from southbound 270 leading you on to Highway 70. The ramp's temporarily shut down now. They are maneuvering tow trucks in to try to get the last of these vehicles out of there. So ramp temporarily closed, South 270 and Highway 70. Just a short backup through the Rock Road, but hopefully they'll have that back to getting the one lane. The right lane was getting through. The left lane was one that was blocked. And again, it's before you get to the decision point to get on to east or westbound 70. So you still have access to both those highways. But right now, like I said, the ramp is temporarily shut down while they try to wrap up this crash. Spring is here. Time to toss out that dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. I'm Roger Brand in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And the sun has peaked itself out at 68 degrees in St. Louis.
John, it's day baseball today in the Motor City as the Cardinals go up to Detroit to take on Detroit. Pregame will start around 11:15 here on KMOX. First pitch around 12:10.
Yes.
And is there anything better than Cardinal baseball in the middle of the day when it's not a getaway day?
I love it. We got this game here on a Friday morning or Friday afternoon early, and Detroit, the 2-4 Detroit Tigers take on the 4-2 St. Louis
All right.
Cardinals.
Now, you have been saying all along
I
that
have.
you think this team's going to be a lot better than, and everybody's predicting it can be. I know there's a lot of excitement about this team. I've watched every game. I've been excited to see it as well. It seems as though these youngsters are playing hard together, and they seem to be building some momentum. But should we not get on a sugar high here? Should we take a couple of deep breaths and realize we've got to leave town now and be on the road?
Well, it's going to be a long season. But what I have particularly enjoyed in these first two series that the Cardinals won 2-1 in both cases, the Tampa Bay series that opened the season, that was big comebacks by the Cardinals, big offensive production, and a fair number of home runs hit by the ball club. And then you go to the New York Mets series, which the Cardinals took 2 of 3. And in the 3 games, the Cardinals scored, 7 runs?
Okay.
So, very little offense production, but the pitching staff came to play. And the bullpen, which looked pretty shaky against Tampa Bay, had 13 shutout innings against the Mets. So, if you're able to win in multiple different ways, that's a sign of a team that can put things together. So I'm very encouraged.
And those New York Mets come to town. They've got one of the highest payrolls in baseball. They're anticipated to be one of the better teams in baseball.
Yeah.
And here you are playing a team that's supposed to be rebuilding, who's got one of the lowest payrolls in baseball.
Right.
We've been there before where you've started a season and turmoil is ensuing in New York. I was checking out some of the headlines this morning. People are not happy with those Mets because they lost to what they consider to be the lowly Cardinals.
Oh, they were something like 1 for 18 or 20 something with runners in scoring position, which is like the Cardinals were last year. And they're off to a sluggish start. They're still, I think they're 3-3, but this will be a nice little test here against Detroit, because Detroit, obviously a playoff team last year. Now we are going to avoid, I believe, this series, their ace Tarek Skubal, the Cy Young winner. So that will be helpful.
Yeah, so we'll have Detroit through the weekend. Then we go over to our nation's capital to play Washington. Then the boys of summer have that Thursday off. And the Boston Red Sox, who are also struggling, come back to St. Louis. The Cardinals back in town after just 1 week away.
Yeah, and all of that's gonna be interesting. Washington is similar in a rebuilding phase out there, although they did sign Miles Michaelis. His first start didn't go too well. But yeah, it's going to be the Cardinals. The first month of the season could go pretty well for the Redbirds.
I don't know if you heard the discussion yesterday on KMOX or read in the paper. Some of the New York Mets broadcasters kind of took a couple of shots at St. Louis as it related to, they didn't see the beautiful skyline shots of the ballpark, but they said that it almost felt as though a bomb had gone off in downtown St. Louis.
A neutron bomb.
That had taken all the people and the streets were empty. I know it got a bunch of people's energy up. What's your take on it?
Well, I mean, it's accurate.
Totally.
You look out the window here at the Voice of St. Louis and you don't see too many folks walking around. And, it's a chicken and egg deal,
Right.
Because I think if people came here downtown, and there are great things to do and great facilities in St. Louis. They're dissipating because nobody's here. But if you had more foot traffic and more people on the street walking around, you would have, I believe, less crime in the urban core.
Yeah, and people who've listened to us and listened to KMOX for a long time, we've been talking about this problem. What I find to be interesting is the reaction that outsiders have said it. Well, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And I wish we would take the anger and the energy we're using to say, well, these guys from New York shouldn't have that to say about us, and put it into actually addressing the issues that exist in St. Louis.
Yes.
Because we're all saying the same thing, and I get it. I can say something about my family, but you can't.
Right.
But at the end of the day, maybe we need to wake up that our family's in complete disarray.
And when we have events like we just had with the NCAA tournament, there were folks from Iowa and all over here.
Right.
There is a lot of traffic in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great and it's gratifying, but it's rare. And I for one think we would all be better served if more folks lived here, which I think is so I don't think the problem is necessarily people aren't coming downtown. I mean, it's part of it, but nobody lives here anymore.
I used to live downtown.
Yeah.
I left for a lot of the reasons that people are complaining about. Hey, John, before we go, we've got a little less than a minute left. Our St. Louis Blues, who kind of languished most of the season, they do have an outside chance that they could make these playoffs.
Yeah, they do. Lost the last couple, which makes that, even more challenging. And they're 5 points out of a playoff spot right now. I think they've got 8 games left, something like that. So mathematically, there certainly is a chance, but they're going to have to leapfrog 2 or 3 teams to get there. And that makes it harder because you need not only yourself to win, you need those teams to lose. So it's going to be a challenge.
Will we see a cleaning of the house of the St. Louis Blues at the end of this season, much like we saw of the Cardinals?
I don't think so.
Season?
I think they're fairly close. I mean, they've been what are they 10-3-2 in their last however many games? I mean, that's they've kind of righted the ship and they've had really good goaltending. We need to step aside. The Artemis 2 is on its way to the moon, and we're going to visit with our old friend Dr. Ray Arvidson next, right here on KMOX.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
The financial industry is getting rich on baby boomers. Don't be their next victim. Find out the truth of what's really going on in the retirement industry. Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
KMOX Radio, in our ongoing pursuit of science, exploration, and the study of the universe, is proud to welcome once again retired Professor McDonald, distinguished professor from Washington University, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ray Arvidson.
Dr. Ray, how are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. I'm glad to be back. We always had a lot of fun.
Well, we love having you on, and there's nobody who knows more about space than you. And, hey, it's an exciting week where it looks like we're getting ready to repeat a return to the moon that some of us lived through in the 60s. How excited are you about this trip around the moon that Artemis is about to make?
Yeah, totally. We're back. I remember 1969 watching the landing with Neil getting off and walking around on the moon, and then followed by Buzz. And that was, a little tiny black and white TV. But my gosh, the current launch, Artemis 2, and they're on their way to the moon. It's a 10-day mission. I was amazed at how popular, this whole event was in terms of people around the world. So we're back, and it really demonstrates that human flight, gets a lot of attention relative to what I've been involved with, the robotic systems. The landers, the rovers that I've been involved in, they get a lot of attention, but nothing like the humans, going to space. So it's really exciting.
And we have never sent a human to the dark side of the moon, which I guess is not dark if you're on that side of it, but we've never sent a human to the dark side of the moon or around it, have we?
No, we haven't. That's correct. I mean, we've seen the dark side all the way back to the Soviets, a long time ago, like 60 years, with their robotic spacecraft. But in terms of, going around the backside and coming back to the Earth and taking a lot of really good images, which they'll do with Artemis 2, that's really pretty exciting. And it's not dark. It's just that the one side of the moon, because it has heavy lava flows, is always pointed back to the Earth. So it's never a case that we can see the backside, which is not always dark, from our Earth vantage point.
I don't like looking at my own backside, so but I guess we're going to get a shot at the moons here, which is good. The propulsion required to make this trip, the secondary propulsion that happened yesterday afternoon. What's the science of that? How do they do that?
So the SLS was used because you have to get a big spacecraft, the surface module, the rocket that gets you out of Earth orbit, plus Orion, off the face of the Earth, from Cape Kennedy. Then you get into orbit about the Earth. Then you have to kick stage and escape Earth's gravity. And Earth is pretty big. And that gets you into this orbit about the moon. And then they're basically coasting until they get back. And then they'll kind of get rid of the service module and just do a direct entry. They're coming in at like 24,500 miles per hour, direct entry with the heat shield and then parachutes, and landing in the ocean just a little bit west of San Diego on the 10th of April. So it's a lot of energy needed because the Earth is so big and the gravity pull is so enormous.
Man, 24,000 miles. That's like riding to Florida with my wife.
That's faster than my Porsche.
Yeah, no kidding. So is part of this mission maybe that we might someday colonize the moon?
I'm not sure colonize is the correct answer. It's more like setting up bases so it becomes kind of like Antarctica for scientific exploration. And there are some potential lunar resources up there embedded particularly in the regolith, because the sun is sending out all these particles. And some of the regolith has what's called helium-3. It's an element, but it's a particular version of helium that can be used in future fusion reactors if we ever get there. So I think for now, it's not so much colonization, but exploration and scientific discovery, and demonstrating that we're a spacefaring nation. And I think there are a couple dozen other nations that are involved in Artemis and supplying bits and parts. I mean, one of the astronauts is Canadian, for example.
You have spent your entire life focused on Mars, or a lot of your career focused on Mars. Why does going to the moon, does that give you hope that someday we will be making that trip to Mars? Is this one of the steps that has to take place?
Yeah, it's debatable whether or not we need to go to the moon first or go directly to Mars. I think, Elon Musk wants to go directly to Mars, but I think he underestimates the difficulty, the cost, the technology that doesn't exist. So we want to learn how to do a sustained presence on another planetary world, that is our moon, before we even attempt to get to Mars and solve all the technical difficulties. But I think Mars is a target. What's happening with the robotic missions, including Perseverance, the latest rover, there's excellent evidence in the rock record that there were microbes present billions of years ago. So the more we look on Mars, the more it looks like early on it was warm and wet and may have even had microbial life. And I think that's exciting. And besides, the need to explore, which we're a nation of explorers, a world of explorers, means that we've got pretty neat science to can kind of zero in on the red planet.
Yeah, the work you had done, did we send a total of 3 rovers to Mars? Is that accurate?
4.
Oh, 4.
So there was Spirit Opportunity back in 2004. And in fact, Opportunity, as you know, lasted till 2018. Just a well-made American vehicle.
Wow.
And it broke. It didn't break. It was lost because of a massive dust storm. And then we had Curiosity, landed in 2012, still going on Mount Sharp. And then the latest is Perseverance, which is collecting samples for, at some point, to be returned to Earth.
That is Dr. Ray Arvidson. So happy to have you back here on the Voice of St. Louis. The Chris and Amy Show is next right here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Lenseat.
After prostate cancer, acupuncture reduces nighttime bathroom trips. Researchers at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center found men who survived prostate cancer and then received 10 once-weekly acupuncture treatments reduced nighttime urination to a degree similar to that achieved with medication, but with fewer side effects. Acupuncture also reduced other lower urinary tract symptoms. I'm Margie Schaefer.
At Lenseat,